everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am here to bring to you a very special video today, and in this video I will be joined by three very lovely content creators and friends of mine to have a neat roundtable discussion for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, sponsored by Square Enix. So big thank you to Square Enix for sponsoring today's video. This is for you, Square Enix. So, if you're unaware, I am a huge Final Fantasy fan, and Final Fantasy VII in particular is my all-time favorite game. So, as you can imagine, I am very much looking forward to starting a brand new journey with Final Fantasy VII through Rebirth, which comes out February 29th, so very soon! Join in, get hyped with us, and I just want to state that this was originally live streamed on Twitch, but I would love for y'all to participate in the discussion through the comments down below. I answer some of the questions that pop up in the roundtable. I want to know your story with 7 and what you're looking forward to with Rebirth and what you liked about Remake, all that stuff. What's your favorite character? Yada yada. I want to hear it. I love hearing people get passionate about video games, especially 7. It's my favorite thing of all time. So leave a comment down below and join in the roundtable with us. I would love to read them. I also have a link down in the description below if you have yet to grab yourself a copy of the game. Go purchase one today. You need it. The game's coming out soon. Also, purchase your dog a game. How do you know they don't want to play? Get them the game. Do it. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on with our roundtable discussion. I hope you enjoy, and I will see y'all later.
Yeah, as you can see, we are sponsored to have a roundtable today. Big shout out to Square Enix for holding this and for inviting us. Thank you so much. Honored to be here. We are just going to be discussing upcoming Rebirth. That's, wow, about 2 weeks away, huh? It sure is approaching.
Yeah,
So,
oh gosh.
I think we're all going to go around, introduce ourselves, and talk about what got us into Final Fantasy VII in the first place.
Yeah, I can start us off. We go around. So, hi. Well, all of you in my chat know me. I'm Frankie. And
Oh, nice to meet you, Frankie.
It's nice to meet you too. It's nice to meet all of you.
Hi. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, I stream and I make YouTube content. Also a voice actor. And the way I got into Final Fantasy VII was I played the OG, and I streamed it actually for the first time ever. Like, gosh, it would be nearly 3 years ago now, nearly 3 or 4. I'm not sure. But I got into it after my chat. You guys encouraged me to pick it up after playing Final Fantasy 13, because I hadn't played any other Final Fantasy other than 13 at that point in my life.
You love 13,
so,
right?
and I love 13. 13 is one of my favorite games. So, I went into it and I didn't know what to expect. And since then, after playing OG 7, it was at the time when the remake had also come out. So people were like, well, if you liked 7, you can play the remake too. So I had an awful lot to explore there. Yeah, just in time. So yeah, that's how I got into 7 through 13. That's me.
Nice.
I still have to play that one. One day.
Me too.
Do. All of you did it, please play it.
Out of the 13.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I'm not very good at
Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
introductions. Hi.
You're doing great.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm Hannah. Final Fantasy VII Remake was actually my first Final Fantasy ever, which was kind of cool. I knew Cloud's name because of YouTube GMVs and AMVs, and that was kind of all I knew going into it. But it was
so on brand.
very honestly.
Sorry.
But actually, it was cool. One of my mods convinced me to play the demo, and then I loved it, and I was like, that was so cool, that was so fun. And then that same mod was like, okay, here, buy it. Here's money for you to purchase it for your birthday right now. And I was like, okay. And then I played it, and then ever since then, it changed my life and changed the direction of my content as a streamer and everything. And now JRPGs and Final Fantasy and WoW. And it was the first game that ever made me cry. That was pretty impressive. Yeah, there you go.
Hannah.
Thank you,
It's
Hannah.
nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, Hannah.
Nice to meet you guys. Wow.
Well, hello, I'm Finny, and
Hi, Finny.
hey,
Everyone
I'm
say
a little bit of a.
Oh.
Can you see all that?
Oh, you
Oh.
didn't show us this.
Oh,
behind the
sorry.
scenes.
Excuse me. I'm a little bit of a
Wow.
Final Fantasy fan. Well, Final Fantasy VII is actually one of my first video games ever. I actually started with 7 years ago when I was a kid, the OG. And I started by watching my older sibling play it because I wasn't really allowed to play it at the time. And just by
That's so
watching it, I
special.
was so captivated. I've never seen a JRPG before.
Yeah.
And just seeing all the characters, all the individual personalities, the story, the music, everything, I was just from then on a nerd, and there was just no stopping. And I kept up with Final Fantasy ever since, and 7 especially is very important to me. It's my favorite. I've kept up with like all of the compilation. I've read books and all that stuff. So yeah, that's where I started. I started with the OG many years ago.
Long-time fan.
Yes.
That's so awesome. I knew that it was one of your first, but I wasn't sure how early.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Well, hi. My name is Lee XP.
Hi, Lee.
Hi,
nice to
Lee.
meet all of you. Hi. Oh geez, I really relate to Frankie in the fact that it was one of my first, and also Hannah, one of my first RPGs that I ever streamed. It was one of the first story-based games. Technically, my first was Final Fantasy VIII. And that was maybe the second game I ever streamed. It was very early on. I didn't know what I was doing, and loved streaming 8 so much that I went right into 7. And that was right before Remake came out. It was on the horizon, so I wanted to get that under my belt before I played Remake. And I loved the original. I remember being a little biased going into it because growing up, I was a huge fan of 10. 10 was like my bread and butter. That was my introduction to turn-based RPGs in general, and pre-rendered cutscenes. I was blown away by Titus and Yuna and how realistic they looked. They were just so beautiful, and the music. So 10 was my big Final Fantasy 13 equivalent.
Mhm.
And so going into 7, I was like, oh, they're so small. They look like Legos. I don't know if I could get into this. I don't know. But as soon as the story got going and, you get into the combat and the music and the overworld, I was blown away. And that was my biggest, at that time, streaming, what's the word? Hurdle? Because I went through 7 and then Remake and then Crisis Core. I did all of it. So hurdle's not the appropriate word, but undertaking. And I was obsessed. So I get it. 7's just that magical.
It really is.
Yes.
So do we want to get into, I don't know, maybe going from being an older fan of the series like Finny and then going into Rebirth now and Remake and how that transition may go a little bit. How seamless is that and how different is the experience?
Okay.
Yeah. I can start us off if you want.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So like my introduction to 7 was very obviously I got introduced to it on stream, so it was very much something like my exposure to what Final Fantasy really was only to really what 13 had ever shown me. So the idea that the series could explore so many different worlds and the capabilities of the storylines because of that was very beyond my imagination when I first picked up that game, because I remember playing it and it being a total like visual shift to me, because it was like all the cutscenes and how gorgeous like the world of 13 looked to me, and this is what I grew up with as a kid. Like I remember picking that game up when I was 10, 11 years old. That was my game that I associate the series with.
Yeah.
And to go from that,
I get that,
to playing the OG and realizing this is what a lot of people started their journeys with as well. Like this game and
Yeah, 7 was the big
how
one.
yeah, it's the big one, and it's like what a lot of people that were watching my streams at the time, that's where they started. And they were like, "Oh, we want you to play this. We want to see how it is with like different generations picking up this game for the first
Yeah,
time."
yeah. I remember people
Which
in my
is
chat saying the same
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's why I'm really grateful that I did play it uh with the company of other people that had started it as their first game. Like I
Mhm.
shared my first game with people on stream because I was just like, it's a really special thing. And to see that the legacy of 7 carry on through like Rebirth, Remake, and Crisis Core, all the new installments of the franchise that we've gotten in the past couple of years, it's a testament to how like globally enjoyed this game is. I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
right way to describe it,
Well, it
or
goes
like
through
how
generations, right? It's
yeah,
generational at this
is
point.
it yeah, it is a generational game that is made. I think what we've seen from the trailers of Rebirth and what people have been saying about it, it's really plays to everyone rather than like you're you're a newcomer to the series or you have been playing since like 97. You know, it's
Yeah.
it can draw you in for so many different reasons. And I don't know if I've gone on a tangent from what was
No,
asked,
no, you're
but
good. That's what we do. We just sit here and we yap
yeah.
about things as streamers, so you're fine.
Yeah, because people in my chat saying like 7 was my first, and yeah, like
Mhm.
it probably is
Yeah.
different for all of us. And 7 was so special because it's what showed me the capabilities of the series and
Yeah.
how I can really um, lose myself in not just one world, but another completely different one as
Yeah.
well.
Well,
So
also it's narrative. I mean,
yeah,
Final Fantasy VII tackles a lot of issues that are still
yes.
very relevant to
Oh
today
yeah,
as they were back
definitely.
in 97.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So I think that adds a lot to it as well.
yeah,
It
Yeah.
definitely
And then
does.
Vinny, you started when you were
yeah.
young.
I
Do you
started
have
with
a
7. I was gonna chime in with what you just said.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I started with 7 and it meant a lot to me. And then I played them as they went, all the Final Fantasies that came out. But I kept gravitating back towards 7. You talked about the narrative. And I think what's so special about 7, and, you know, love it or hate it, it's very beloved by the gaming community as a whole. I think it's just the overall narrative of what 7 offers. I think it's a very, well, for me, I can only speak for myself, it's a very familiar
Yeah, please speak from your
setting.
perspective.
Very familiar, as in, you know, we can all relate to the themes that this game offers, like life and death, environmentalism, and, you know, government issues. Just we have all these different things that this game has, and even the visuals. Like, it's not overly high fantasy, and so you can see bits of, you know, where you grew up. You can kind of see bits of that in the game, for me at least. So when I grew up, it's like
Very
I was
humble beginnings.
yeah, and I was like, wow, this, you know, it's like being, it's like, you know, Earth, but with a little bit of magic in it. So it's very relatable. That's why I always go back to it, because it's just a very familiar setting and the themes are familiar. All the characters are so different that you can find someone you gravitate towards or relate to. And yeah, I just
Covers a lot.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, Remake was my first Final Fantasy. So it was definitely a very interesting, but such a good one to start with because like the streaming it was such a big part of it for me because it was all these people who had played the original and like the original was so popular that I literally knew Cloud's name from AMVs on YouTube. Like I'm so aware of like who he was, but like not all of his backstory and everything. But so playing it with people being able to like chime in with like their original stuff and seeing how things have been expanded upon so much and especially the world. I just remember it was the first game where I remember it so distinctly. I finished the game and I finished stream that day And then I just was like lying in bed and I was just like, I miss Midgard. Like I miss just like
Oh,
walking through the
yeah.
streets and I miss like the people talking and I miss like oh, I just missed it all so much. Like it was just such a beautiful world. And I like literally had this save file in chapter 9, which had my favorite music playing, which is Midnight Rendezvous.
I
And I
love
just
that.
opened up that save file and I was just like, yeah,
Oh, I love
okay,
It's a good one.
that.
wow.
That's my favorite chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good
and
chapter.
So
Same.
good.
then going back and playing 7 afterwards, because I was like so obsessed. I was like, I need to know this like actual story and I need to know everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, how
it's
was that experience?
wild. It was so different because so like one of my favorite characters in Remake is Jessie. Like I love and adore her. And the fact
Mhm.
that she has like only little bits in the OG and Biggs and Wedge, they only have little sprinklings here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just
Very minor.
expanded upon so much to the point where these characters who had like little bits and pieces were like making me cry. I was just so obsessed with them. I was just like, these are my favorite characters in Remake.
Yeah.
And just like how tremendously they expanded on those characters and made the world so living and breathing and just wanting to sit in it and just be there, present in that world is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so
so
cool.
interesting to hear it from the opposite side because we have
It is.
very
We have
opposite
opposite, yeah.
Yeah.
relations to this game. It's weird because I vice versa. Oh my god, I've always wanted, and I know a lot of us always wanted 7 remade. And I just remember when it was first announced, I was sitting in a chair originally, but then I just ended up on my bed and I rolled myself
that you
into a
remember?
burrito with my
Oh.
blankets. I was like overjoyed. And
Mhm.
you know, growing up, I would just imagine all these characters and locations and everything. Like, what is this going to look like in HD? What if, what if we learned more about Jessie? What this, what that? So, oh my god, to get the remake, it was just
Dream come
jaw
true.
drop the whole time.
Jaw drop.
It's it's just everything I ever wanted and more. And
Oh no, do you have your, is that your like overlay thing?
Oh no.
thank you for the sub.
Thank
in
you.
Lee-
you.
Lee
Thank
stream.
Thank you, whoever that was in Lee's stream.
My bad. Okay,
I think
okay,
they
you can
said
stop
because
now.
they're a
it's
fan.
all silent. You're good. You're good. I even had that pulled up, and I didn't pause it.
That's okay.
Don't apologize. You're good, Alley Cat. Okay, sorry. Continue, Finn. Your burrito blanket.
My burrito blanket. Yeah, I was so excited. I rolled myself into a burrito blanket and I was screaming. And people thought I was in danger, but I was okay. It's just a dream come true. Like, I remember I used to have the webpage open for Advent Children growing up because I like the Promised Land song and I would just listen to it because the website would play it. I would just have it open. I remember playing like Dirge of Cerberus and being so ecstatic about the HD-ness of that game. And of course now you look at that and it's like, okay, Penny, that's not really that HD. But at the time it was, and it was like everything.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god, look at this character. He has like proper limbs and legs and fingers.
Yeah.
And
That's what blew
it was-
my mind. Because I was like, these are Lego people. Yeah.
That was such
Yeah,
a
oh,
huge part
God.
of Remake is being able to see these characters like with their full like
Mhm.
every time in the opening cinematic when it zooms into Aerith's face, every
Yeah.
time I'm just in awe of how
You see her
beautiful.
pores.
Oh
Mhm.
I
my
know.
god, it's
Yeah.
wow.
The
Yeah, I remember
expressions
it's a
you always
huge
thought
jump.
were there. You can actually see
Yeah.
them. They're real.
I felt like because OG7 was so fresh for me at the
Yeah,
time
same,
when I played
same.
it, because I think I played 7 at the beginning of like 1 year, and then I ended the year by playing Remake because I was like, I want some time in between to experience more of Final Fantasy
Right.
and
Oh, I went
like the
right
different
in.
storylines.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I went back to 7, and it was like that's when I kind of started to feel like the word nostalgia. Like it's not limited to like how long it has been since you played something. Because I was like, you can be nostalgic about something that you played
Right.
last week, right?
Mhm.
And going
Yeah.
into like a new game. Um And I felt exactly like that with 7 because there were certain parts that happened in the OG, and it still felt so like suddenly felt so fresh in my mind when I picked up the remake because I was like, "Oh, wow." Like it's I knew through their words, like, because you just one of the fun things about the OG for me was like voicing all the characters,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they didn't have any voices in like
Hmm.
for me in my head. Like I knew what they sound like in my head, but it didn't sound right when it came out my mouth. Like
Yeah,
like it didn't
yeah.
sound
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so having the remake
They
have
all
like
got new voice actors
yeah,
too.
absolutely stunning voice acting. Like the
Mhm.
emotional beats those voice actors hit in the remake, and I know they will definitely hit them in Rebirth,
Yeah.
is
Oh,
amazing. The things that they managed to well up inside me from just the playing on that nostalgia that I was feeling, and really uh making the moment so beautiful, regardless of what was happening, if it was sad, if it was happy. It's
Yeah.
something that like it was really special, and I hadn't experienced something like that from anything else in the series yet because it was 7 and then remake. It was experiencing the same thing, but I almost like see it like painting a bowl of fruit. Bear with me
Yeah.
with this analogy.
Yeah. No, I'm
So
right there with
like
you. Hang on.
so you've got when I was playing the OG, I was looking at it from one angle. And when I played the remake, I was like on the other side. I was painting the exact same thing, but I was just seeing it from a different perspective. And it was that knowledge of knowing that this is where it's come from, and this is also um the the potential that it could possibly be as well, like the things that I would have never realized before just from looking at it from another perspective, or seeing the
Mhm.
things that are added in there, like, oh, there's a grape there, I didn't see that in the OG, you know, like I
Yeah.
didn't like,
Yeah, that's
it's just a
exactly how it was for me because I went
mm,
right from OG7 into remake. So I had this one-to-one comparison going on, and I was like, "Oh my
mm,
gosh!" I still remember going into Aerith's house for the first time in
yeah,
remake, and then just seeing how much was added, all the details, all the love that went into it, and it
Mm.
brought me to tears. That was one of the first times I was
mhm,
really emotional while playing remake. Um,
yeah,
because wow, I just played this and it was not drawn out like this because it couldn't be. It was limited with the
hmm.
technology and
mm,
the console it was on. So it's really remarkable to see how far gaming has come and then to readapt an entire story and world and make it so different. It's not a normal remake. It's not a normal remaster.
mm.
Hmm.
It's a whole spin on the narrative, which I think draws in a whole new crowd too.
Yeah.
The appeal of a new story, and also for old fans because they want to see what changed. I know with Finny, like
Hmm.
you know original, so going into remake and subsequently rebirth, you're gonna see all those changes and know.
Yeah, and that's what's really cool about this remake project. That it doesn't matter if you're an OG fan or if you're a new fan. There is something for everyone. There's something new for everyone. Which at first, and I don't have to go into it, or we can. At first, I was on the fence about. Um, and it took time for me to realize, like, wow, this is really special. They took the time to give us something brand new for us OG fans to just hype about, theorize about, think about,
Yeah.
cry about. And
Theorizing, that's a big
Mhm.
one because
Yeah.
there's a whole fandom just for theorizing, especially
they did a
Final
really good
Fantasy.
job. There's a new theory every week, basically, if you
Yeah,
want. It's out there.
so many
It's out
YouTubers that
there.
are just like theories, that blew up too. And I remember that with Final Fantasy 15. There was a bunch of theories and
I
drawing
love that.
conclusions with myth and things, and you could
Yeah.
definitely do that with
But it's
7
really
as
cool
well.
seeing the fandom come together and like
Mhm.
theorize and comment together and make things up. I think that's really special about the fandom.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And Final Fantasy's fandom in general is very much that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're very
Mm.
passionate.
Yeah, yeah. Just
I
too.
I have a question for the rest of you who went OG remake, because to
Uh-huh.
me it was so cool and so wild because I did remake OG, and then I remember when you get to what the end of remake is in OG, I think I was like 2 hours into the game, or like just like it's so early on, and I was just sat in shock, being like, they expanded like this
Mm.
into a
Mhm.
whole game, like that's a huge number of hours. So was it really I don't know how to phrase the question. Was it really cool, like being like, wow, we're still here, and like in the OG, we were so much further along by this point, or
I think
Yeah.
when I played the OG, because obviously I'd never touched the game before. Where where the remake ended when in the part where I was playing in the OG, I thought the game had actually ended in OG.
Really?
So yeah, and I think that that's like the feeling that I had back then for what Rebirth is about to be. Is it that exact same feeling if I'm wording
Yeah.
this correctly? Because it's almost like
I know, I get it.
my horizons are suddenly expanding, and this game is a lot larger than life and bigger than I thought
Yeah.
it would be.
That's how
Because
Rebirth is setting out to be too.
yeah,
Rebirth
that's that
feels
exact
so big.
yeah, and I'm really glad that that's what Remake did for me, because I was reliving beat for beat a lot of the OG, and at the same time I was filled with so many questions, and I love when games do that because it might be for some people that change is quite scary or is intimidating. It can compromise a lot of things that you enjoy. But at the same time, I'm glad that from my perspective, playing something that challenges my comfort zone or the unexpected is always like a welcomed not discomfort, but there's another word for it. It's like a challenge or something like that. Like it and it's I'm really trusting where they're going with this simply because I'm reliving those questions and that shock almost that I had in the OG.
Yeah.
That feeling, like
Mm.
sitting in that and trusting that feeling.
Well, that's the
And
thing.
I
The
didn't
original's
regret it.
always going to be there.
Yeah.
And so
mhm.
you can go into this with fresh eyes and knowing that the story of what was in the OG is still there in 1997.
Yeah.
And it's very accessible even now, which is great. And then you get to re-experience it with all these modern takes and the combat as well. The combat's so fun.
That was so
Um,
good.
And then
Mm.
also getting to theorize about what's going on with the story, what's
Mm.
new.
Yeah.
And then Rebirth, gosh, there's going to be so much. So the fact that Remake spent so much time on Midgar and honing in on all the small details of Midgar and expanding that, it's like almost overwhelming to think about how big Rebirth's going to be.
Mhm.
Right.
I could cry
Like-
thinking about it. I'm very nervous in a good way
Yeah.
because it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as an OG gamer, and I've
very
always
special to you.
I've always wanted to
Mhm.
see all these like characters and like the Junon in HD, the characters within Junon in HD. What does Cosmo Canyon look like? I've only ever
Mhm.
pictured it in my mind, and
Yeah.
I can't even like, it's hard to even form words. It's like Christmas morning. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like Christmas
I'm
morning.
sure.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's really special.
Yeah, I'm really excited because I am currently replaying Remake, ready for Rebirth.
I need to do that.
And
Mhm.
Should play hard
like,
mode.
yeah, I'm not quite there
It's
yet, but
fun.
maybe one day.
It's really fun.
But it's so interesting because I'm also a different gamer than when I was when I
are.
first played
Yeah,
it.
you've come a
So
long way.
like,
I'm not who I used to be.
yeah, I've changed. And now I'm doing all of the side quests because I got everyone the worst dresser. I was very
I
overcome
did
with
too
the
the
main
first time.
story.
It's okay.
I was very it was a
No.
so anyway, but
Remember,
now
that was
I'm
so important to me.
now I'm doing all of the main all of the side quests, sorry. And it's one of my favorite things now about Remake that I hadn't like fully taken in the first time around was how like when you do all of the like odd jobs, as you're walking around, people will be like, "Oh, hey, thanks for doing that," and like, "Hey, like, oh, it's that guy who did that," and like just
Yes.
that in Rebirth on a bigger
Oh, a
scale with
grand
like
scale,
bigger
yeah.
things and like more
Mm.
going on, and I'm just like the fact that you feel like you're having such an impact through Cloud on the world around you is just so cool. And I just think it like ties everything together about how like we're fighting our own personal battles in the game, but also for the people and like helping the world itself.
Yeah.
And
We
then the
love a
world is
malleable
interacting
world.
with you. Like you're one. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, seeing your direct impact on an environment around you is one of my favorite things about gaming. All my favorite games have elements of that, I want to say. So I'm very excited to see how it's all tied together in Rebirth. And also, there's a bunch of new characters coming in Rebirth. Or
Whoa!
two.
Sorry about that. Got a little excited.
There's a couple, at least. Someone's
Some of us
excited.
are very excited about
That-
it.
I'm gonna-
Not the
I'm
one
gonna
that you
keep
think,
that in.
though.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Don't let me interrupt.
No, that's fine. I mean, God, we got an hour 20 minutes. You feel free.
This is a great place for you to take.
Listen, speaking of
unleash.
characters,
Just
can we?
unleash.
Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about characters?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Schedule. I have a loose notepad going on, but it's okay.
We can
I'm-
return to
Wherever our hearts lead us,
Sure, no problem. So I'm actually really
My
looking
chat's
forward
freaking
to.
out. You're like Finny. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, we all know we're missing some party members.
She's
And-
holding. She's holding.
No, I'm putting him down. I keep it together. Okay, focus. Okay, so
Breathe.
Just
Drink-
expel
okay.
all of your passion for Sid Highwind right now in this moment. Like, it's all been building up to this. Your whole career.
my whole career. So let's focus on, I guess, the two. Well, I guess you can count Yuffie as well if you didn't play the DLC. We're getting a bunch of new playable. Well, let's clarify. We know Sid and Vincent. They're more along the lines of Red 13, how he was in the remake, but they're going to be in the game.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Be there. Gonna see them in HD
I am-
in their pores.
Yeah.
And their pores. It's I know. It's crazy. They have
so
pores.
many pores, and Sephiroth has nose hairs, and I have tweeted
Yeah.
about it
He's-
on multiple occasions, probably. He has
Oh
nose
my
hairs.
god.
Sorry. Anyway,
Don't
that's
you just
mine.
want to pluck them? No, wait. We got to focus. Okay.
The important parts here. Right.
The important part. So I want to know, can I just ask, who's everyone out of the playable characters, or no, out of the new like cast members coming, like the main party, like Kate Sith would be new, Yuffie, Red 13, and playable or not, as Vincent and Sid will be there in some way. Can I ask, who are y'all most excited for and why?
Okay. All right. She's putting the Sid passionate speech on hold. We gotta reach that. We gotta build up to it.
You gotta earn it, chat.
You gotta earn it.
I see what you're doing. You're deflecting. You're holding off. Okay. I would say I hate to be like the basic one here, but Vincent, because I actually didn't get him an original. I don't know anything about Vincent. I didn't play his game. I know. I didn't play Dirge of Cerberus, Vinny. I know. She's so disappointed.
Bomb.
So I know nothing about him, and everyone freaks out. Everyone freaks out about Vincent, and they're so excited. The only time I have seen him is actually in Advent Children, and that was it. So I somehow skipped right by him because I was new to streaming, and I didn't know how I was conducting my streams. And hey, no backseating, and wow, my mods enforced no backseating. So I went right past his little room.
Oh my gosh.
Never saw him.
Oh.
I still get comments to this day on YouTube that are like, "Can't believe you didn't get Vincent." I'm like, I know. I still don't know him.
I still
So-
remember how to
Very
get him. Like,
excited.
I know the combination I need to get him. Like, as a kid, I remember writing
my
it
gosh.
down. I won't
real.
spoil it in case, I don't know, y'all want to play the OG. I won't say it, but I could literally just blurt it out.
I
It's,
remember.
because he was
Yeah,
in the
I remember.
booklet, so I always knew about him. So, and Yuffie, and so I had to make sure when I played when I was a kid, I'm like, where are these guys? Where are they? So I had to make sure I
Okay.
found them. But it's
Prime
really
and
cool to see that
Nine.
you missed
Gotcha.
him because you have so
Yeah.
much more to look forward to. This is
I
going to be
know,
really
he seems
special
like
for
my
you.
like he fits in with the aesthetic of characters that I do gravitate towards.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy.
must
He's
say.
very fun. And he's very
that was
handsome.
that was like me when I played on stream. I was like, the only thing I know about this game is there's a hot man somewhere, and I want to get him.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Sid's gonna
Sid.
Tell me. So I was like,
And it's not
"Haha, your time will come, Finny." Okay. Let me gush about Vincent for a second.
I'll be the basic one.
I have an agenda.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I remember that was like the only time I allowed like proper backseating to find him because I was like, his aesthetic, his look, like everything about him. I was like, I need him in my team. I need this Vincent Valentine here. I need him here.
You
And
need
I
him to be your
remember
Valentine.
exactly. It's just
Oh my
it's just
god.
past, unfortunately.
And now it's gonna be
but,
Matt Mercer voicing him.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
so glad. I love Matt Mercer
What's not to
so
love?
Oh god, he's gonna
much.
do a great job. Ugh.
All of the cast are gonna do amazingly.
Mhm.
I've already like heard from the trailers and
Mhm.
what we've played so far and we've seen. They all sound amazing, like
Yeah.
absolutely. And like, I guess on the topic, going back to your question, Lee, I was like looking forward to actually playing more of Yuffie
Ooh.
because of playing the DLC.
Yeah.
Because
She was so fun.
I will
She-
admit,
mhm.
when I played the OG, Yuffie was not exactly my favorite
No,
character.
speak your truth. Speak your
I
truth.
will
Speak your
speak
truth,
my
speak
truth,
it.
okay? Because I'll speak my truth because it has a happy ending. So,
Mhm.
I
Character
came
arc.
across Yuffie, like these characters that we're talking about. It's just Yuffie and Vincent, I think, in the OG. You had to go out into the world and
Yeah.
find them, basically.
Yeah.
Because I realized as well, like they wouldn't be in cutscenes when you played the OG, and I was like, oh, why is that? Because you'd have to find them. So I stumbled upon Yuffie completely randomly. And I remember reloading my save like nearly 20 times
Mm.
because
I had something a similar experience.
she kept annoying me. I won't say I will not rob you from the frustration of playing the OG yourself and finding her. But just
We don't wanna do that.
just let you know, it left a very sour taste in my mouth because I was like, you're in my party, but I'm not really happy about it right now.
Mhm.
So with those feelings and seeing when Integrate was announced with Yuffie, I was like, good, because I want to give this character a chance. I want to see because a whole DLC like dedicated to her. It's like they're
Yeah,
going
it's
to go into a
amazing.
lot of depth and um I want to know more about her, and I think I enjoyed playing as her the most out of all the playable characters so far. I think her
Mm.
combat was extremely fun, and I think that's also where the
She's quick.
introduction of like the synergy system that has been worked and molded into Rebirth with all of the other playable characters now came from that with Yuffie and how fun it was. It was so fun. And her personality and her confidence, it was something that really, really grew on me. And she's actually probably one of my favorite characters in the game.
Yay!
Yippee.
I love
Yeah.
Yuffie.
Redemption arc.
Yeah,
So
Yay!
I
Integrate
am
I'm
did
happy.
so much
I'm a
for her.
Yuffie fan. I really like Yuffie. So yeah.
That did end on a happy note.
Mm.
I have a little ramble that as I've just like heard all of your thoughts, I'm just like stacking
Yeah.
up thoughts
Yeah.
in my brain.
Mhm.
Please do. Got all
The
the time.
aesthetic of Vincent is one of my favorite things ever.
Mhm.
And when I played OG, it
The
went so
cape?
far as to the voice I gave him was just like, hello, I'm Vincent. So now that he actually has a voice, I'm very excited for people to like get that.
My favorite story,
Dracula.
Matt Mercer.
Matt
Yeah,
won't be able to do
competition
what
there,
I
I don't
did, but I
know.
guess he'll do it
Man.
better or whatever, I guess. So I'm excited to see that presentation of him. Not quite my vampire man, but like I'm so excited about it. And
Less
I was the exact
ominous.
same with Yuffie of in the OG, I was not a fan and I was just like, oh my god, can she stop playing? And then I think there was literally a clip of it happening of the very first scene of episode Yuffie, and I think that clip is entitled Hannah finally falling in love with Yuffie. And it's just me watching this cutscene and like slowly just melting and being like, she's so cool. And the
Aw.
combat was a big part of that. Like having the duo moves were like they added so much personality into the combat.
Yeah.
And just seeing her like introduction into the new series was so cool, and I just loved her and I felt so immensely for her. So I am so excited to see her in Rebirth. But there is another character who I'm also very excited to see, who we've
Mhm.
maybe mentioned their name for someone a little bit. But I in OG as well was not a big Sid fan. However,
Oh, neither was I.
however, there is a however. It's a happy story. Like we're gonna
Same.
get there.
Same. Finny is
I
trying to
am
get himself.
genuinely because I had like obviously with no no facial animations, no voice acting. It's so hard sometimes to like read and intake these characters. So the character that I am hugely excited to see in Rebirth is Sid. I am so interested in what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it. I love Sid's voice actor so much,
Mhm.
and that's gonna do a lot because one of my favorite VAs ever, who has played some of my favorite characters. So, oh boy, I'm very ready. I'm excited to suddenly fall in love with Sid to the immense amounts that I know are possible. And yeah, I'm so excited to experience it. I'm so thrilled about it.
I
Anyway, Finny,
cannot
what are
wait.
you
She's
thinking?
dying.
There she goes. There she goes.
Just
I
chomping at the bit.
Excuse me. I cannot wait to hear what you think about Sid when you're done with Rebirth. I need to know. I need to know from all of you.
So what
And
do
I
you
need to
think
know
about
from
Sid?
everyone
Yeah,
who's
what do
watching.
you think?
Yeah, what do you think,
You
Spinny?
can't keep putting this off. Come on,
Oh.
let's hear it.
Sorry. So I'm personally most looking forward to Sid Highwind. If you're not, why you laugh? If you're not aware, he's my personal favorite character of the game, but favorite video game character ever. He's very important to me. He's been my favorite for since I was a kid, and I just when I grew up playing him, I thought he was so funny and so real. He's very imperfect, but I think he's a very important character, a very important character type. There's a moral to his story and you can watch him grow from it. And I think the relationship that causes him issue in the OG is one that probably other people unfortunately can relate to. And I think it's a beautiful story. He has great depth. If you take the time to really like listen to his story, it's amazing. And he has hopes and dreams and he just wants to go to space. And I knew he was going to be really handsome. And he looks handsome. I was very excited. He looks great. He sounds great. He's going to be the game of the year.
He's handsome and
He-
he wants to
he
go to
is gonna be
space, and
game
he's
of the
gonna
year.
be
He is game of the year.
Highwind Game of the Year.
Yeah, he is. He will be.
Well, as you were talking about that, I
Uh-huh.
was reflecting also when Hannah was speaking about Yuffie. I think they did an incredible job portraying a young girl that is exactly her age and is up against the
Mhm.
circumstances that she is, and it ages her. So you get to see her loss of innocence real time. And I think that's just really important and really well done, especially within video games. You don't see that too often handled as well as Yuffie's arc is. And to compare that to the OG, where she comes off as very annoying and very young, here she's very humanized, and there's a lot more to relate to with Yuffie, I think, and that is what's so endearing about her. So to see her post her arc and intergrade in Rebirth and see her join up with everyone is something I am so excited. I just want to see character interactions. That's my big
I know.
thing.
It's just the best thing.
Yeah.
Character interaction.
Yeah,
seeing
seeing
them
them just
grow
meet up.
together. Ugh, seeing who
like-
clicks together and who doesn't. Oh my god.
And their
And
dynamic.
seeing Yuffie's immaturity as not something annoying or anything like that, but just like she should be
She's a
immature.
kid.
That's the life
Exactly.
she should be living. So in Rebirth, like if I see interactions where it's like Yuffie is allowed to be a kid and like allowed to be the kid that she is. God, if it's with Barrett, it's over for me. I'm just gonna be passing away.
That's why I'm looking forward to the combat so
sad.
much, because like I know I can like
Yeah.
customize my team to
Mhm.
like to have
Mhm.
like just like in the OG when you could choose who was in your team, but
Yeah.
even more expanded upon where it's like, oh, they can do these moves together and it's like so cool. Like
Yeah,
seeing
I
them in
love
the
that
trailers
stuff.
as well, and
Mhm.
how it's been so well received. It's like a Seven fans dream to see like your favorite characters team up to pull off these amazing, so super cool fighting moves that is happening like in the combat. It's not just for show. It's like
Because there's
a
character
part
depth
of the
there.
mechanic. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
a part of the narrative. Like you could read into that about who they are as characters. It's
yeah.
great.
There's so
Mhm.
much personality behind all of it. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
just seeing them interact both in the main quest and side quest, but then also in combat, being like, oh, I want to see these two and like maybe see how like
Mhm.
close they are, like how like it's choreographed is so cool to be able to see another side of them.
Okay,
Yeah,
a
I think.
dynamic I really want to see. Oh, I'm so sorry. You
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
no, no! Go ahead. I was just gonna. I'll interject after. Go for
Okay.
it.
I
Go
was
for
just
it. Go
gonna
for it.
say a dynamic I really want to see is Sid and Vincent. I want to
Me
see if they
too!
have
Oh
a
yeah!
tag.
Oh, we gotta wait for
Yeah.
that.
That's just it's gonna be so interesting because I cannot picture those two characters together because I never have seen them together. I didn't have Vincent, so
Uh-huh.
We'll
Yeah.
have to wait, but I think that'll be worth waiting for.
It
like,
will.
Mhm.
That
for sure.
They saved the best for last. We can trust in
Yeah.
Square.
Exactly.
Can't believe Sid's gonna have Game of the Year twice. That's
Yeah,
Oh my
twice.
god, yes, he
Twice.
will. Let's go.
Yeah,
Thank you,
he
Square
was
Enix.
winning.
I was gonna say, like, to like round off like the fact that we're talking about all these characters and you know where they originated from the OG. I think it's
Mhm.
like an absolute testament to the how amazing the remake has been for developing these characters. It's almost like it's like reading a book and they're jumping off the page now completely.
Yeah.
Whether that's like through combat or Yuffie having her own DLC, or you can see their outfits in so much detail now, and that adds so much character to them. Like being able to see Cloud's outfit and how there's like wear and tear on his armor, and like it's slightly
Yeah.
fraying at his shirt, and
All the
like
details, paint a picture.
yeah, and me trying to imagine what Aerith's hair would look like not in polygons was like, how is that gonna look? And
Yeah.
it looked amazing. You know, seeing things come to life, it fills me with like this like childlike wonder. Like even though I played
Oh,
it as
that's
an
a good way to
adult,
describe it.
it's like I can only imagine what it would be like for you, Finny, like experiencing that as a kid, and now in
Mhm.
your adult life being able to experience this all over again. It almost feels like yeah, like you're in a child. It's like this
Yeah.
game, it like
Yeah.
caters
That's
to
why I'm a
that
defender
so
of
much.
remakes. I
Yeah,
don't mind
yeah.
remake culture, whatever you want to call it, the internet calls it, you know, this wave of remakes because it's my childhood. It's the nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's so
Mhm.
other people's childhood, and
Yeah.
it's so great to see people revisiting things that they loved when they were kids and seeing it age with them. And I think
Mhm.
remake and rebirth as well age very well with their audience, as well as bringing in newcomers.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what's so wonderful about everyone being really passionate about remake and soon to be rebirth is it's gonna make them want to go back and perhaps play the OG or read that side novel that these new characters are from, or you know, play a side game, watch Advent Children. And I think that's so wonderful just to gather in new fans, and there's just so much for them to take in and appreciate, and to see how far it's come since from 1997 through all the way to now. It's just it's phenomenal. It's incredible.
Speaking of that, what are our thoughts about the open worlds from what little we know about that's upcoming? Because Midgar felt pretty open to me. I don't know. It was technically linear, but
yeah,
it felt so big and there were so many details. The open world of Rebirth, I don't know, because I'm always on the fence with open world games, but Rebirth feels like it has a lot to work with from the original to fill
definitely.
that space.
It because there's just so
But
much
what was
to
your
work
favorite
with.
location in the open world? Let me ask that.
So
Oh.
like not a town or
No, a town, like
town?
somewhere that you
Like
can
a
go
place.
to that's upcoming. Yeah. What are you most looking
something that I
forward
would
to?
expect in rebirth. I mean, Junon. Honestly,
Mhm.
Okay.
I've always pictured in my mind an important I don't know if what I can say, like important televised event happening in Junon. I've always wanted to know what that would look like in HD, because it's a celebration that happens there. And I think because there's trailers of it, so I don't know how much I should say or not say, But I'm
Well, I think what the general public knows would be fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, like there's a parade coming up, and of course, you know, the limitations of the OG game can only do so much. Like, you're not going to see the confetti falling from the sky and the audience cheering and all the individual character expressions. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing Junon. Just in general, there, you know, it's surrounded by water. It's, you know, it's on the coast. There's a big cannon. There's so I'm just Junon in general. I think it's just, besides like what happens there, just with the parade, just it's such a beautiful location that was so limited back then that I want to see its full potential in Rebirth.
Yeah, I can kind of like feel the same way, imagining what like Cosmo Canyon will be like.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Because
that's
yeah,
a big one,
because
though.
there
Like,
were
very excited.
in it. I don't think this isn't spoilers or anything, but in Remake they refer to places like they did in the OG, like to
Yes.
certain locations. Little old me obviously wasn't paying too much attention, thinking that the game just ended at Midgar, like, because I was like, well,
did a great
there's
job
a
of
whole
ending it
world,
there,
yeah,
so.
yeah. And hearing like Cosmo Canyon being mentioned, and how actually these places link to our characters, and how it's rooted in those places where you will find out more about these characters that you're journeying with, because most of them began as strangers, you know, and how they all come together, and you experience these really character building events in these locations, especially Cosmo Canyon. I remember Cosmo Canyon making me cry, like when I played it for
story
the
there
first
is
time.
really good,
yeah, and
yeah.
the music is something that will forever stay with me. Cosmo Canyon, especially, and
Can always picture that music.
yeah, so can I. It's the contrast of all the different places as well that we'll get to go to in Rebirth, and that they've been announced, and as well as that, I'm pretty sure they said that there's going to be about 400 tracks in this game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
400. So
Didn't know
My
about
heart
that.
can only
Yeah.
take so much.
400 new tracks.
OC.
Yeah, so
Oh,
yeah,
just the new ones.
tracks.
Yeah, wow.
Just the new ones. But oh my gosh, for someone that had played the original, I played remake, and gone to these different locations, Cosmo Canyon especially, and having those songs on repeat, like, and finally being able to see the location of where it can be. Like in remake, I would listen to Aerith's theme and the church and just all these locations that I would associate with the music, and to finally have that visually in front of me in like Rebirth now, all these places I've been like thinking about since playing remake, it's got me all excited, like I'm a kid on Christmas Day or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
It's
it's
the
that
same feeling.
that
That's why I'm a
feeling
gamer.
of
It's for that feeling.
yeah, like the 29th of February is my new Christmas. Like that is that's it. Every year. Yeah, just so much content that will come from that. And I think you mentioned like side quests and things. There will be
Oh God,
Yeah.
yeah.
things to do in every location,
Filling out
and
the
not
world.
and not just every location, like in the overworld as well, like the where you explore, there will be things to interact with and do. There is like
secrets to find. Oh, I love secrets.
Oh,
Yeah,
secrets to
secrets.
find. Yes.
I love secrets.
I love secrets.
I still remember some of them from the original, and I wonder.
Yeah.
They'll definitely probably still add those back, but anything.
And
in
the
addition
mini
to-
games and
Yeah.
there's so much more. So much more to be excited about as well.
Yeah.
I just talking about Cosmo Canyon, I have to go back to the question of characters we're excited to see. Bugenhagen,
Bugenhagen.
Love him.
I love
Iconic.
him. It's like
Did we see him very
I,
briefly in the trailer or something?
yes, I
Yes.
just started
Yeah, yeah,
screaming when he showed up. I was
Yeah.
so excited. I love him. He's the best.
He was like my
Um,
favorite to voice in the
Me
OG.
too.
Yeah, because I
Me
was like,
too.
Withered old
how does this
man.
guy even
I want
sound?
to see what your voice was, and I'm like,
No,
Yeah, let's do it right now so
Watch it
everyone
on
can
back.
I
see.
will
No.
do mine.
no, I've
Ignore
never.
it.
I got. I think I gave her like the worst old man voice. Like I would cough like
Oh,
every 5
excellent.
seconds.
So
Mine was just like, mine was just continuously like, I am Boogan. It's just insane. It was just constantly insane.
Why did they cast
It was
you
great.
as Bugenhagen? I don't understand.
Yeah, they really
I've
missed
been
out.
asking that question for years. Oh my god. No. Anyway, now that I've embarrassed myself, Cosmo Canyon, Junon, absolutely. The parade and everything. Another favorite area that I can't wait to see at some point. Well, I guess kind of we've seen it. Maybe anyway. Is Nibelheim. It's just such a there's just such like a vibe attached to it, and it's just so like this like heartwarmingness, and obviously I won't get into everything, but there's just so much to it, and I think the aesthetic of it like just reflects its vibe beautifully, and it's just so stunning. But yeah, like so many locations. One of my favorites is Costa del Sol. That's gonna be a
Oh yeah, I
time.
forgot about
I'm
that
sure
one.
that's gonna be an adventure of sorts. And God, there's just so many. I can't wait. I just can't wait. It's gonna be so
It's just
good.
so
And
fun.
yeah,
I wanna
the mini
interject.
games. Go for it.
Sorry.
No,
I
no,
want to
no.
interject with Gungaga.
Gungaga.
Oh
I
yeah.
think there's gonna be little Easter eggs in Gungaga.
Mhm.
I know we can't get into too
Oh.
many story spoilers here, but
Just speaking of
Me
Gungaga for
Gungaga.
a minute.
me Gungaga.
The like little secrets that we could find in the game, like with Remake, something I was like, oh, how are they gonna do it if they do it the Hell House? And because it seems like weird. Why would a house be walking around on the map for you to have a random encounter with?
I forgot
Yeah,
it was.
yeah,
oh my
yeah,
gosh.
And they handled it so well, and it just,
yeah.
I don't know, really respectfully, I thought.
How did I
And
forget
so
about
I
that?
can't wait to see what they, because there's an interesting monster in Gungaga. I don't know if they'll do anything with it. So I want to see what they do with Rebirth, what kind of little special secret enemies they kept in the game. That seems like impossible that they would, but they do. So I'm really looking forward to every random encounter I get.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see what I recognize.
It gives me a lot of trust with where they're taking like Rebirth and what they're doing with the story and the characters and the locations, because it feels like they're really paying tribute to really iconic moments or creatures or characters in the storyline, and integrating it into because I remember even just choosing a difficulty in Remake was a whole new experience, like playing the game. Like you mentioned Hell House, that's a whole new experience on a harder mode. Like
The reason I won't do hard mode.
Yeah. I got
great.
if I can do it, all of you can.
She's a gamer.
You are gamers. I believe in you. I'll be there cheering you on. But yeah, I just think again that's just like a testament to I love the fact that they've played around so much with what is possible and pushing the boundaries with this game. And I know that now they've done Remake and Rebirth is on the horizon. Seeing all of that pay off from what we've seen already, it's looking incredibly promising and very hype. I'm extremely excited to see what Easter eggs will be there. What will I not be expecting, you know? That is also there, because despite us all having played or not played, like if Rebirth's even your first like time playing something within the 7 series, there's always something new and exciting to take away from that. And I think that's just a testament to the team and their consideration.
Because Square has released a trailer where they've condensed, recapped Remake, so you can even jump into Rebirth. Watch that, check out Rebirth, see if that is something that fits your criteria, if it jives with you, and then go back.
Yeah,
and play
so I think if
again.
anyone's like wondering, can I just start with Rebirth? You could. You can. I think eventually I would recommend the Remake because it's just a really great experience, but Rebirth is also just a great title to get into Final Fantasy VII with. And they will have that neat option where you can, because it was in the demo even, to catch up on the story. So you can just be ready to go. and just play it then. Because I know if you see the trailers, you know, some people are just so hyped. Like, I want to play this first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just want to
You-
check
you-
it
you'll
out.
be able
Yeah.
to.
You see
Yeah.
that trailer, you want to play it.
Understandable.
Yeah.
And I like that the dev team have come out and to say that if you do want to start with Rebirth, they have gone to efforts to make sure that
Yeah.
new players are able to do that. You don't have
Mm.
to play the OG, you don't have to play catch up on anything. You can be
Mhm.
there in the moment, in the hype with everyone else.
Yeah. I feel like
Without
they packaged them well
worrying.
as their own separate stories, but
Mm.
obviously they
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
together.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
I'm so
versatile for both.
excited for that because like for the people who are gonna start with Rebirth, as someone who started with Remake, and I just
Mm.
remember there were certain things that happened where I was like, what does that mean? I don't get it. What? Huh? What? And like chat's freaking out, and I'm like, I don't get what. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
excited because that for me was just like that just made me want to get into it more. Like it didn't
Mhm.
even like have a block of anything. It was just like, okay, who's this? What does this mean? What is this? And I'm just going, why is there a cat? What does that mean? And
Yeah.
and it was
Hey,
just
even me,
amazing.
someone who's played it,
So-
I was like, why is there a cat?
So I just can't wait for people who start with Rebirth to then me watch them and see their reactions and be
Mhm.
like, and
Yeah.
then them
Get
go
drawn
back
in.
through the story like I did, and it's just cool. It's just
Mhm.
very cool.
Yeah. It's just
And I'm
great
glad
to
that
see a
they've
whole
made
new
that
generation
possible.
Yeah,
get
yeah.
into
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII. And something like,
Definitely.
especially if you grew up with it, like you, Finny, seeing more people get into it, like that's a dream come true as a fan. You just want to see people enjoy
Yeah,
the thing that
I
you
want to
love.
see it grow. I want to see Final Fantasy VII take over the world. I want it to get all the fans as possible. And from what I've seen so far, heard so far, just from the trailers and I won't talk about the demo in detail, of course, but
Yeah. you had a good
it's
time.
gonna blow your mind. I'm not even ready. They really just
Yeah.
set the bar really high,
Mm.
and
Speaking
it's
of,
goodness.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. I'm speechless about it. So
She's speechless.
She's just speechless. So you're taking over the worlds. How are varying opinions and feelings and excitement levels for Sephiroth?
oh, I thought you were gonna say Hojo.
I can't say
Okay.
anything bad. He's right behind me. Just realized.
He's right there. He's watching.
He's
you.
there, isn't he? Haha.
Mm.
There's been some Sephiroth peaks in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I just think about Sephiroth's nose hairs a lot. I've talked about it already. I just think they're just like so high quality, and you can see so many of them on his nose, and it's just like, wow, that's really incredible. He's gonna ruin my life through nose hair alone, let alone plot and characterization and things happening on my screen.
The power.
So
he
yeah,
has.
I'm excited a little bit.
I'll
I
be looking out
feel-
for those nose hairs now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
I'll send you the pics. I'll send you the screenshot. Don't worry. I'm
Okay,
on-
Zoom
I got them.
enhance.
I got them.
I was gonna say I feel that the Rebirth is setting up a lot, not just like with the story of the characters that we go along with Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Barrett, Yuffie, all of them. It's also setting up a lot to do with Sephiroth and
Mhm.
obviously I don't want to go too far into it because I do not want to rob the people of their own experience, but he is such a complex character that
He's so...
he in the narrative he influences a lot of the cast's own journeys, own stories, and you're only left with questions and wondering why what is his motivations, why is he doing this. I know I was left with
Mhm.
so many questions like as I was playing the OG and the remake, and I think it's done on purpose to set you up to be more intrigued about him. I love when villains are set up to be that way because the more questions you have, the bigger the payoff and the impact on everyone else, all the characters, and
Yeah,
that confrontation or the even just mentioning his name. Like whenever the characters mention his name, there's always like a
deal.
moment of silence. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they talk about him as on another level because it's
Oh.
like he's completely separate
He's one of
to
the most
who you're traveling
iconic
with.
villains of all time.
Yeah, most
Yes.
iconic.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah,
seen his
so
hair?
yeah.
L'Oreal, I'm worth it.
Well, if it isn't obvious enough, I do like Sephiroth a lot.
He looks good back there.
I do
You
like
did a lot
him.
to get him home. I do.
I did.
remember.
His sword is broken.
He'll
Square
fix
Enix
it
knows
for
about that.
Rebirth.
It's
Don't worry about
fine.
that.
He'll fix
He'll
it.
get it
Yeah,
fixed.
He'll fix
it's
it.
fine.
No,
He doesn't need it right now. He'll need it in like 2 weeks. It's fine.
it is really interesting with how, because Sephiroth is so iconic and is so like, I feel like most people know visually him, at the very least. And it's so cool because I feel like in the OG, like you get a lot of him, but this is just such a side we've probably never quite seen or understood or got. And like, I love Sephiroth a lot, and I think he's so cool. But I think Rebirth is gonna like change the Sephiroth game and like just give him that like complexity and those layers and just really get into it, which I cannot wait for because he's just so iconic. But I think he's gonna get even more iconic and he's just gonna like build on that in such an interesting way.
Yeah. Looking
Through
at
his
what they did with
relationships with the
Yuffie,
cast.
I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna
just
say.
humanizing him. is
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be
And that's such a key
very
part of
exciting.
him is the human nature of it all and I just can't wait. I really can't.
Mhm. Yeah. Speaking of iconic characters, there's another one I wanted to discuss. One of my personal favorites, Zach Fair.
Yes.
I know it's
Yeah.
a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah.
Finny, I'm watching your face.
Don't call me out. Don't let them know. Don't let the people know.
Obviously, story spoilers aside, I just really like Zach Fair a lot. So I'm very
Mhm.
curious to how they're gonna work him into the narrative and how things are gonna change possibly with Rebirth. I know we've had some peaks of things that could be things or not things, who knows? But yeah, after playing Crisis Core for my first time many years ago, he's just so good. He's so good. And curious to see how they're gonna possibly flip the narrative.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say as I'm kind of scared.
Don't be afraid, Finny.
Here we
Listen.
go again.
Listen, fandom. It's nothing personal. I promise. That's the beauty of Final Fantasy, right? You're gonna
It
have
is.
characters you mesh with, and the characters you don't, for whatever reason, because we all come from different backgrounds, different personalities, and so while you don't like
My
Sid,
chat saying,
I do.
Speak your truth.
Thank you.
Speak
I
your
will speak my truth. So, I'm not the biggest Zack Fair fan. I said it. I did it. I said it. I'm not.
Every time I hear it,
I
visual damage again.
for me, he's not relatable to me, and I just can't get into him. And I appreciate what he brings to the story. I'm not going to deny that. He has an important role to fulfill, and I respect him for that. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Zack. Will I have a
If you'll become
different
a Zack
perspective by the end of it? Will they change my mind? Will I like him? Will he learn how to do squats? I don't know. So I'm very excited to find out
He
if
wasn't
they're
doing
going
them
to change
correctly
my mind.
before?
Well, I'm not sure about that, you know.
No, you critiquing his form.
But
I
that's what's
think-
really
oh my
cool because
God.
you know what Hannah said earlier about Sid and seeing
That's
if
how you are,
Rebirth
Zach.
will kind of change her mind about him, see him more of his character. That's me with Zach. Whatever they show, let's see what they do with him.
Yeah,
Fair,
I
fair.
feel the remake. I'm trusting the process because of my experience with like the Yuffie DLC.
Mhm.
What it did to a character that I didn't necessarily mesh with to begin with, and
Mhm.
humanized them more and gave them more complexity and a voice, you know, because
Yeah.
a lot of it we just playing OG, we just interpreted just the words on the screen, you know, and
Yeah.
it can make a huge difference when there is life breathed into those words. And something that I found with Yuffie was like, oh, she annoyed me. She do all these annoying things, because she's a child and they're doing certain things that it's just very within her character. And then seeing that in such a charming, energetic way playing the DLC made me warm up to her so much more than I ever thought I would.
Do you hear that, Finny? Maybe you'll be warmed up to
Warmed.
Zach's good boy nature.
Yeah, perhaps.
Give enough depth.
Sis.
Okay, all right, we're gonna table that.
What I'm, yeah,
Hey, we'll see. No, I'm open to it.
yeah.
I want them
Yeah.
to change my mind. I really do. Because you know how happy it makes me to hear that a lot of y'all were indifferent about Yuffie. I've always been a fan of Yuffie. I thought she was always very funny and charming, and when I would play the OG, I'd have her in my party a lot. So to see that you got, you know, a little more depth to her character, and that y'all change some of y'all change your minds about her. So maybe that's gonna be me with Zach.
That's the beauty of the remake.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
That's what's exciting. There's like a new part. It's not just the OG remade. There's new elements to it that as someone like me who's done a lot, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what to expect, but it's going to be good, and I'm going to get a new perspective on a lot of different plot points and characters, and who knows? Who knows how I'll be feeling about Zach at the end? Maybe I'll be in love. Maybe.
Maybe. I do love Zach, and I think he's just so genuinely special in the Seven world, and like what he means for other characters is just so vital to the story and to him as a character. It's just like how other people think of him. And I don't know, there's something about Zach that just like genuinely makes my heart like swell, but at the same time it's being crushed. Like he's just so special and kind and generous, and it's just wonderful. He's so wonderful. And I think what's exciting is like maybe with Rebirth and the new talking as they roam around the world and the new stuff we're going to get for every character, maybe those things that make Zach so special are going to come out more and more, because we're going to hear more about him, and we're going to see more and hear people talk about him and Gongaga, and it's all going to be just so it's going to be so beautiful. And he's just the bestest boy, and I just can't wait to see what they do with him. Yeah.
I love what you said about him shining through other characters, and that's a huge character of a way to view his characters through others. And I think that's really special and very indicative of a character's writing, when they affect others around them so much that you can characterize them through them. I feel like I'm repeating the same points, but like it's just so special, and it's so rarely done well. And I think Zach's a good example of that.
Yeah, like he's so cute, and some of my favorite scenes in Remake are like two characters talking about him, and like they're not even saying his name, or they're not even really doing it, but they're just, you can just tell how special this boy is. And I think that's just so incredible to be able to do with such little context in terms of the story so far. And the fact that I cared about this character when I played, and I hadn't played Crisis Core, and I hadn't played or seen Advent Children yet, and I hadn't done all this extra stuff, but I just cared. Because they cared, and that's so special.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, how about the combat? So going from original and doing just regular turn-based combat, and then going into Remake and subsequently Rebirth with the active time combat, I found I fell into a different sort of what's the word? Like almost like it was a different strategy that I had to adopt, and you have to adopt it on the fly, but it's so fun, and when it clicks, it really clicks. I know we kind of talked about the intergrade moves where characters are teaming up, and we're seeing a lot of that being implemented in Rebirth, because now we have so many characters. I don't know. I'm more excited for the combat than ever when it comes to Rebirth, because of how many characters we can sift through now.
Yeah, I think that's such a great modernization of 7, and it's just like they set a standard for combat, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
But if it's something also that is overwhelming or you prefer something a little less, they did have the classic mode that plays a little more along the lines of OG. Of course, not quite, but so it's like they try their best to cater to new and old fans, and I think that's really special because they didn't have to do that, but they did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my
Yeah.
chat can help me figure out what it's called, but I know in Rebirth there are different like variations for like difficulty. That I think one of them is called like dynamic. So like if
Hmm.
you are up for a challenge, like the hard mode
Oh
in
yeah,
dynamic
yeah,
mode,
yeah.
there we go. Yeah, if you're up for a challenge, like the remake, what like hard mode and remake was a really welcome challenge.
Yeah, I
Then
wanted
they
to ask
have
you about that because I didn't do
yeah,
hard mode, but you had a
yeah.
nice time with it, right?
It was really fun. It was nice because it felt like it felt slower.
Okay.
So I could really enjoy the beats of the story more. Um,
Mm.
because the combat was tough. It was hard because it was hard mode, but the payoff after doing that was amazing. There's certain fights that I won't mention because I'd much rather people go play that for themselves and experience it. When you play for the first time and then you realize you can play this through hard mode and you be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is
The
I know I'm gonna spend so
replayability of
much
it.
time. Yeah, the replayability, and I think the replayability of what Rebirth is gonna be just for the combat situations
Mhm.
is going to be on an epic scale because it also plays into the fact that working off episode Yuffie with the synergy attacks with two members of your party, it's not only fun to play, but it's fun to see like two of your favorite characters joining forces
Yes.
Yeah.
to pull off these like sick attacks that I don't know. I when I'd see these attacks like in trailers, I would just be like, gosh, it's like what me as a kid would like imagine on a screen, like if two of my favorite characters came together to pull off this super cool move, you know, and
Yeah.
the fact that that's completely like customizable with having different characters in your party. You can switch in and out of who you want there just so you can have more options and explore that too. I love that there's even more variety beyond what they had achieved with Yuffie, just because I thought, wow, that's such a it's so cool to include that now you've got two team members teaming up to pull off a move,
Mhm.
and to take that and carry it into Rebirth, like, oh, people loved that in episode Yuffie. We're going to keep that going into Rebirth, where you want Barrett and Aerith to team up together. You sure can, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
adds a
just adds a
personal
lot of
touch to
character.
it.
Yeah, it adds so much personality because it makes
Mhm.
them feel more like a group. It
Yeah,
doesn't
Mm.
exactly.
because I know in remake you would switch between the characters separately and you can still do that. It's just
Yeah.
nice that you can now switch between the characters and then also have them come together.
Yes.
Which is like the synergy of the group. I love the name because that's what it feels like. It feels like
Yeah.
they've got great
It's a
synergy,
bonding
you know?
moment.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
bonding. Exactly. My chat saying
Mhm.
Aerith with sunglasses. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we get special moments like that,
Mhm.
which I think is great when it. Oh, there's a term for this. Luda. That's a new term. Lunar
Leader
narrative.
narrative?
Yeah, where they incorporate.
Oh.
It's the idea of incorporating storytelling through gameplay that's very unique to
Yeah.
a video game.
Yeah.
That's essentially what that is. It's a great
Mhm.
way of demonstrating their growing closeness through an actual combat, things that you have to do to progress the story
Yeah.
mechanically.
And I may include, but obviously completely avoiding spoilers, but we all know here, and if you're in chat and you have played Remake, the ending of Remake, that is a huge like for you playing that. It's like all the team coming together
It's a nice moment.
to yeah, it's an amazing moment. Where
Yeah.
it feels like that that synergy of them all coming together, that's like what you love about the combat and the fact that when you play as just Cloud, you feel kind of alone, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's almost like you're itching to have team members with you.
My
It
friends
it
are my
feels
power.
lonely. So I'm really excited. That's like probably the biggest thing I'm excited about Rebirth is
Yeah.
the combat. And it didn't used to be. I was always really story focused with games. And I'm really glad that what I've taken away from Remake is that I can enjoy the combat in a game like even
Yeah.
more than a story sometimes, you know, in certain places. Like I found myself looking forward to doing boss fights in hard mode and I never thought I would see that day when I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed the stress. But I did and I do and I'm probably going to replay it again like next week just
Yeah.
to
That's so cool that
Yeah, I'm
something
playing
about
hard mode
it
right
Yeah.
now,
that
and
normal
I'm
it's
people
really
just so
grateful.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Oh, God. They make you work for it. It's like a whole different experience than normal mode. Or
Yeah.
I gotta
And
play
I think
hard mode
Rebirth
now.
is,
You're
yeah, I
selling
know you,
it.
Yeah.
you touched on it. It's going to have that same like feel where there's
Yeah.
replayability.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
Rebirth works difficulty wise where it gets harder as you level up rather than you click on a harder difficulty. It like the
Oh, okay.
difficulty will depend on you pretty much. And that I think is a really exciting prospect for me because I feel
Yeah.
like once I got into the rhythm of hard mode, it was so fun. So once I get into the rhythm of um the harder difficulty for Rebirth, I will find it just as rewarding. And that feeling is like it's like undefeated when you finally overcome something so difficult in a game.
Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely what you say with story over combat is definitely what I had on my first time in Remake because like I don't really fully remember how many chapters specifically it was in. I think it was like 6, maybe 7. I hadn't leveled up materia or done any of that because I just
Oh,
had no like I was just like, wow, I'm just having a great time.
I
I love
understand
Barret.
this.
So yeah, it was I had some rough fights and then
Leveling up in games?
eventually someone was like, maybe you should do this and I was like, I can do what? Wow, that's incredible. So it's cool that there's like so much to learn all the time. And now on my replay, I'm doing the VR missions for the first time, and I beat
Oh, those are so
Shiva,
fun.
the first one, like
Yeah.
2 nights ago or something. And that's really cool. And I'm like learning a whole other side to it because
Yeah.
I was such a story person, like, and I was so absorbed in the story of Remake immediately because I just loved the characters and I loved what was happening. So to play it again and then going forward into Rebirth, just being a lot more into the combat of things and uh doing all that is going to be really fun, and I do think the synergy will attacks will be such a part of that because it's not only I'm not going to rely on the same characters every time because I want to see those synergy attacks. I want to see those connections between the party members and like party banter or like how they like when you swap to them what they say like in Remake when Eric's like it's my turn now and just like
Oh,
that sort of stuff like I just love it.
The
So
dialogue,
I
the
think
little
seeing it
interjections.
and like what they say when they're about to attack together and like how the party banter is gonna work like all of that just builds and builds and builds on the narrative itself and the combat weaving itself into the narrative in that way and just fully incorporating both. It's just uh, I can imagine Rebirth just excelling at that completely. Just from the trailers alone, I'm
yeah.
like
Mhm.
I'm already sold
Yeah.
100%.
You
Um,
mentioning materia, I couldn't help but laugh when I was playing the remake in comparison to having played the OG like a couple of months before. I was like, I can't believe I'm still swapping materia between my characters. Like I should have learned this because I think everyone has that issue sometimes where it's like giving certain characters certain materia and
yeah.
it's just like, oh gosh,
Mhm.
I need to train up all these materias and but the materia system really grew on me because
Mm,
it um comparing because I had played a lot of Final Fantasies in between that like 7 OG 2 remake that it was really refreshing to see what it had taken and what it had made. and,
I
and
love the
kept the
level up
charm
system with
of
it.
yeah, I love it
It's
so much.
satisfying.
And I love also because circling back again, I won't like dwell on the 13 stuff, but I was a little 13 girl when I started off. So knowing that a lot
Yeah.
of the core team worked on remake, it brought a smile to my face because things like the stagger system and
Yeah, yeah.
Crystarium, the Crystarium to like level up your characters and weapons and things like that. It was so familiar and uh really refreshing to see that because something that I had wanted to talk about with other people for so long, like, oh, 13's my favorite game. Um, to see that in 7 and to tell people, oh my gosh, it's here, like to get excited over that, and other people not
Yeah, yeah.
realize that. It was really nice. And just, I think that's why I also really adore the combat system that um Rebirth is shaping up to be, because I've seen like the bones of it, of where they've worked from, and really have a lot of uh appreciation for the team that worked on it, because they worked on one of my favorite games of all time, like they shaped my childhood, and they're continuing to shape my gaming experiences into my adult life. And yeah, it's just always a really refreshing and
Yeah.
nice thing to just experience.
We were
And
talking
it's
Something
so
I wouldn't
about
special.
expect.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's so
Yeah.
special that like you playing 13 can find stuff from that, loving Remake
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Rebirth, and then people who play Remake or play Rebirth can then go play 13 and have the opposite
Mhm.
experience, and just how Final Fantasy like
Yeah.
leads into playing every Final Fantasy ever. Like I started with Remake when it came out, and now I have over 1,000 hours in Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 14, and
Yeah.
it owns my life.
Yeah.
So it's just so special how even though they're their own stories, you can still like there's the call outs to the
Yeah,
other
it
games that you
builds.
love,
Mm.
and that's
Yeah.
just such something special with the
And
series as a
I
whole.
wanna also mention, 'cause someone in chat said it too, that the composer that worked on a lot of the music in 13 and 13.2 also worked on a lot of tracks in Remake. So, and the crazy thing was is like I could tell the exact
You could probably hear it.
tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
And I was like, I know who did this. I know. And
Oh.
I'd look it up and I would be right. And I was like, gosh, this is just it I don't know. It almost makes me speechless to just find those little connections that
Mhm.
go
It's just cool to see
go
the franchise build.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
behind the scenes of how these games are created, and who worked on them. And from that point, like in my childhood all the way to this point,
Yeah.
I could never imagine telling my younger self, like, you're never gonna believe what happens in the future. Basically, this game called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, it's it's an incredible feeling seeing it sprinkled everywhere in the
Yeah.
game.
I was gonna say, when we were talking about the team attacks,
Mm,
it feels so much like Final Fantasy 15 sometimes to me.
yeah.
And I love 15. I will always be a 15 defender. That is still one of the
Same.
most
Mhm.
shining examples, in my opinion, of just amazing chemistry between cast members in a video game. It feels so real, and their dynamic was just incredible. All the way through the combat, their random dialogue lines that you could trigger with their combat moves, right? Their team attacks. And to see that be reused in a way that's completely new, but like maybe has drawn inspiration from in Final Fantasy VII is so cool, because here we are, we're getting a fresh new paint on these old characters that people love, but they're getting like the upscale paint of what has come after 7.
Yeah.
Just really, really neat.
It's
I was
really
thinking the
cool to
same
see y'all
thing.
gush over different Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
As someone who's just been a fan a long time, it's like no matter what game you start with, it's so special and so magical. It just makes you want to check out the others in the entire series.
That's how 10 was for
And
me.
and you can see little connections between them, even though different teams work on them. They all have, similarities, and we all find different things that we really like. We got some 14 enjoyers, we got 13 enjoyers, we got 15 enjoyers.
Yeah. There's a lot in my
That's-
chat right now.
Do you
That
think
is what's so
this-
special about Final Fantasy. It
Mm.
just
Yeah.
never ends. There's something for everyone.
Yeah, they're all
Do you
separate
think that
stories, but
Rebirth
you're
could
gonna
be a
find things to love.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mhm.
No, I'm sorry. I keep interjecting.
No, please
do you
do.
think Rebirth could be a good jumping off point for people that are just getting into Final Fantasy for the first time?
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
Good.
the latest tech, the latest
Yeah,
combat
like a good look
system.
into the whole franchise even.
Yeah, it's gonna make people want to check out everything.
Yeah.
The voice acting, the music, the gameplay,
It's gonna be some of the
the
best.
art.
I think I could interject because I think there's a good question here in chat actually, if you don't
Ooh,
mind.
okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Someone asked, and I think we might all have someone different. But they asked, do you all have a favorite voice actor for Rebirth? Like, is there a character's voice actor that you're most looking forward to hearing their performance?
Mm.
Because I know
I'm
that
trying
we're
to
looking
choose
forward
just
to.
one.
I know, right?
I
Because I was about to say,
know.
I think we all have like everyone. But I have quite a personal one. I'm most looking forward to seeing Barrett's voice actor. I'm looking forward to seeing John's performance because he is just such a character, like as a person. Like his presence is just like it's infectious. Like his happiness and his excitement is infectious. And whenever I see on social media when he's interacting with fans, or I've heard his interactions at cons, it's always been like he's so incredibly passionate about playing Barrett. And Barrett was a character that I grew to absolutely adore playing Remake, and still to this day I think he has one of my favorite performances that I've ever seen in a video game. At a point I can't spoil for you in Remake, it's worth you finding that out for yourself and you'll know which one it is, because the emotional beats that he hits with his voice, and just he embodies that character so well. And from what we've seen with the trailers for Rebirth, there is so much more to his character than what we know. And that's got me, like, one of the story things for Rebirth, that's got me the most excited, is to see that. I almost feel like I'm gonna try and immediately go and find where I can find his story stuff in the game, because I need to hear it. I need to hear how he's going to tackle this incredibly beautiful and so many emotions, like story about Barrett. So yes, I am looking forward to seeing his performance the most. John Bentley.
That was the one. That was one of the three main ones that I was thinking of, was Barrett, because I think Barrett's gonna have soul-crushing, beautiful, incredible voice acting in Rebirth. But I can't choose between them, so I'm just gonna say both of them. Sorry.
Go for it.
Bree as Aerith and Cody as Cloud is gonna
Yes.
be just incredible. Cody's gonna have like such a time with Cloud. Obviously, we're not gonna get into anything, but like there's a lot to portray in Cloud, in different ways and different voice acting, and that's gonna take a lot of skill, and that's gonna take a lot to really sell those bits. But I know it's gonna happen because it's already happened in Remake. And then Aerith is gonna have such incredible moments, and what do you know, they're two of my favorite characters, so I'm very excited to see them interact as well. And yeah, I just think they're gonna do amazing. And then also, I'm really excited to potentially check out the Japanese voices at some time, at some point, with Sakurai as well, and that'll be really cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way of I love doing that. I love switching between different dubs and getting new takes on the same character. It's like picking a whole art form apart by itself and how to read a character.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say mine is Yuffie coming off of Intergrade. Considering where her character is at post Intergrade, because gosh, Susie nailed it in the DLC. And going through the whole game, knowing what we know about Yuffie and what she's been through, and seeing her assimilate into the group and being a part of a team after her storyline, I'm just so my heart breaks for her, you know? Like I feel so much for Yuffie. And yeah, I was just blown away by Susie's performance in the DLC. And
That's probably
very
why
curious to see the
Yuffie,
nuances.
like, that's probably why she works so well. Is her voice.
Mm,
It's just
Mhm.
incredible. So
Yeah, her performance just sold the character alone for me. So my vote goes to Yuffie for me. Very excited to see more of her.
God. I've been trying to think, and it's so hard because I agree with all of y'all. It's so hard to pick
You can
just
say
one.
Sid. It's okay.
You can say
Oh,
Sid.
okay.
It's fine.
Yes, of course. Yeah, duh. Of course, I'm looking forward to Sid's voice acting. But I was trying to think of someone besides him because that's an obvious answer. Because they all did such good performances in remake, and they're true. I'm trying to think of story beats that we should hit in Rebirth, and I want to say Red 13 with Max.
Yeah.
I know we barely
voice
got
range.
to touch on Red in remake. It already sounds amazing, but there's some pretty big moments coming up in Rebirth that we can really hear a wide range of emotion from him. And he's a puppy, and my dog has been pacing around back there. And so it's extra
Cute little
special to me.
kitties.
I love Red, and I don't know if I'm ready to hear any because half of the performance is the voice acting, like half of the whole, like, you know, feeling. And I'm just picturing in my mind where Rebirth could go, and every character is just gonna have that wow moment. They're all my favorites. They're all gonna be my favorites. I can't pick one. I can't. I guess I pick Red, but I can't pick one. It's because like
I think Max Mittelman's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, his
Really
range
talented voice
is
actor.
so
Yes.
impressive.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know that he was Red 13 until looking it
Neither
up
did
later.
I. Neither did I.
This was
Same.
not how I've heard him before at all.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
impressive. Yeah, that was a good one. I wasn't even thinking about Red 13.
Yeah. But there's just so many characters
I
like
know.
that we could say is what we're looking forward to the
all of
most.
them.
I
It's just
All
because
of
the
them.
performances in
Some of the most
remake were just
impressive
all so
casts.
good. There's just not
Yeah.
a single critique I could pick on any of them,
Yeah.
and they all just make you feel so many things. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's really hard to pick just one.
Yeah.
That I'm
I
looking
can't wait
forward
to
to.
see I can't wait to see Britt Barron's
Oh yeah.
performance as Tifa.
Yep.
Because she blew me away in remake. Like
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think my chat agree. Like her playing Tifa was just almost the highlight of remake for me, like her voice and
I know that was a perfect casting.
but
It
yeah,
was-
perfect cast. A lot of remake has just I think all of it, honestly,
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the voice
It's hard to
they-
imagine anyone else doing these.
yeah,
roles.
they have breathed so much life. I don't know if that's the word. Yeah, so much life into these characters,
Yeah,
and
it's very inspiring.
yeah, given
Absolutely.
them like beautiful, amazing voices, and we're very grateful. If any of the voice actors are watching, we're very grateful. We're very grateful. Thank you for existing.
Thanks for making us feel things.
Yeah, thank you for making me cry really badly.
Yeah.
It's on the internet now.
Thanks for being really good at your
It's
job, and now I'm
forever
having
there.
Yeah, thank you
emotions.
for being good at your
How
job.
do you?
A fun character question I have
Ooh.
is who was your favorite character at the end of remake, and who do you think your favorite character is going to be at the end of rebirth?
Oh,
Or you can have like a host of characters. It's hard to choose just one.
I'm trying to think.
my favorite character at the end of remake was Aerith. Aerith's one of my favorite characters of all time. Like in video games, I absolutely adore who she is. And her theme is just something that never fails to make me well up and cry. It raises so many emotions, and so does her as a character. But I think by the end of Rebirth, and this may sound like I don't know, like a lot of people probably feel this way. It's actually Cloud. Like I think Cloud's gonna end up being one of my favorite protagonists in the series by the end of Rebirth, or by the end of this trilogy of games, because I feel that the games we've seen so far with remake has explored his character in a way that I never thought possible. And I'm very grateful that the games have decided to explore him in this very complicated way, because I know Cody had said in a panel like interview that there is so many complex parts of him that he wants to do justice with his voice, and
Yeah.
making
I
sure
remember
those
that.
emotional beats and understanding of him is understood by the player. And I felt like we were getting there by the end of Remake, like how he softens up and where he
Mhm.
closes off, like what situations bring that out of him. And I feel Rebirth is going to present those situations to let him grow and um, really develop him in a way that we haven't seen before. You know, regardless if we played like the OG or not, you know, it's
Yeah.
going to be an absolute privilege to play that and experience that. I
Yeah.
think that's my answer.
Wonderful.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I would actually agree. I was thinking Cloud as well because I have such a
Mhm.
soft spot for really good, tragic, misunderstood protagonists. And Cloud, after Rebirth, knowing where the story might go, I'm just so excited because I know I'm just gonna melt every time he's on screen. The more and more we get to
Mm.
know, because his portrayal, like you were saying, was already incredible in Remake. Like it
Mhm.
really blew me away, the complexity we were seeing underneath the surface, and we might be getting a little bit of a bigger glimpse into that perhaps in Rebirth. So I would also say Cloud perhaps by the end of Rebirth, but my favorite at the end of Remake was Tifa, because Tifa, okay, I'm gonna do a huge deep cut here. One of my favorite things ever is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I love Buffy so much as a character, and Tifa just gives me big Buffy vibes. Like there's so many parallels there. She has to be so strong and put together, and she physically is very strong too. Like, do not mess with her; she's gonna throw hands.
Mhm.
I love Tifa by the end of Remake. I was just, I was so blown away by Tifa, and yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see the focus kind of switch for me more onto Cloud, back onto the protagonist.
Okay, my turn.
Sorry, that was abrupt. When I have a thought that's ending, it's ending.
So I want to say 2 because I want to point out a villain. But going into Remake, my favorite was, or playing Remake, it was Tifa. And I've always liked Tifa. She never was my favorite character, but I really loved her. And I think Britt's performance of her would just sealed the deal. It was amazing. She experienced so many like different moments, different levels of depth, and you get to see her just go through so much emotional. I don't want to like spoil, but I like it's just she went through a lot. She went through a lot, and she's very strong in every sense, physically and mentally, emotionally, and I just really relate to her character a lot, and I really admire her spirit and her bond with Avalanche and the cause, and still having a kind heart and at the end of it all. So I would say Tifa, but I also want to point out Rufus in Remake.
Forgot all about Rufus.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember Rufus in the OG, he was cool. I love villains. I'm a villain girl. But he didn't do much for me. Like, he was cool, but I'm like, okay. Remake changed my mind about Rufus, and he's only in there just a little bit, but it is so impactful. His character, what they did with him, they took his character and just elevated it times 10, and I just can't wait to see more of him, more of his sass, more of his villainy ways, and more everything. I really love Rufus, and I think he was one of my favorites in Remake, but I think going into Rebirth he's gonna be one of my favorites leaving it. I just want to see more of him. But besides Rufus, that's not fair. You know I'm gonna say Sid Hywin.
You're just trying not to say Sid.
You know I'm gonna say
You
Sid.
like Sid? That's what?
You know I'm gonna say Sid. I don't care how big or small his role is. It's gonna be Sid. He's a very special character to me. I don't care. It's gonna be Sid. Is it fair to say him, or should I say someone else?
You can say Sid.
I think
say
it's the
Sid.
most favorable to say.
Okay.
Sid.
You need to say Sid. You need to represent for the people who are not saying Sid.
You're right. I pick
He's not
Sid
enough
when
of
no
them.
one else will.
Yeah,
I pick Sid.
You're his one fan.
I-
I'm kidding. If there are only one fan, if he only has one fan, you were that fan. There we go.
I sure am.
Mhm.
I'll answer my own question, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
please.
4 favorites for remake because I can't choose. So,
That's how good the game is.
I know.
my favorites were Cloud, Aerith, Jessie, and Reno. They were my 4 like big timers. I just like loved them in such different ways. Which it does feel like cheating, but they're all just the best. And Jessie was so special to me. Like Jessie is one of my favorites ever. She's just she just has goals and dreams, and I just love the way that they tell her story. I think she's just so relatable and heartwarming and and I'll go for something a bit different for Rebirth maybe. I would say Cloud, and I do think he's probably the number one, but I'll also say Biggs and Sephiroth. I am
I
the
also
most
want to include
excited for.
Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Thinking of
think
him.
Biggs is gonna be really, really interesting and cool coming away from remake. I think Biggs has got so much story to tell, and he has all these like beautiful, subtle characterization bits of his nerves and anxieties, and he's one of those characters that are just so real and human, and like even when the story gets to these grander levels, you can see him, and he's still human, and he's still like going through those daily anxieties that we have, and I think that's really special. And Sephiroth, from what I was saying earlier, the layers and stuff I think they're gonna do with him, and how much they're gonna add to him, it's gonna change me, and him and Cloud are gonna change me. And
Mm-hmm.
wow,
I'm also fixated on them
yeah.
too. I'm like, there's so much here. We're gonna get to see it.
Yeah, we should
I think
pick
that's
what
fine.
villain we're looking forward to.
Ooh.
There's a lot. There's a variety. We got Rufus. We got Hojo. Woo! We got Sephiroth.
Hojo's gonna have moments. That's
He is.
I-
He is.
I'm looking forward to seeing Reno and Rude again.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time they'd show up, like OG or remake, it was just so much fun. Like, because their
Mhm.
dynamic, it's like they're on the opposing side to like the characters, like with Shinra, but you can't help but love them. Like they are just so
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is, like you might be able to help me find it, but like you can't help but smile whenever they come on the screen, or their banter, or the way they interact with Cloud, and it's just there's always such joy there, and knowing like whenever like Reno or like Aerith, you know, like interact, or Rude and Tifa, or like any of those interactions, I was thriving off those so much because I knew that I couldn't hate them. I can't hate them, you know. Not all villains you have to hate, and
Yeah.
I really like them. And also, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing more of the Turks in Rebirth,
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say that.
Elena as well, which was
Yeah, she
very
got the
exciting.
reveal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
got
love
the reveal as
that.
well.
Can't wait.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That's who I was gonna say. Was
Yeah, really?
Same,
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Because I knew she
Yeah,
got the
I think-
reveal.
There was a collective cheer when everyone saw, because that was the big question on everyone's
Yeah.
lips, really, was like,
Yeah.
who's going to show up in
It's just so
Rebirth?
cool.
Mhm.
Elena's
Yeah,
awesome.
just the Turks in general.
She's kind of
Yeah.
relatable, you know?
Mm.
She's a bad guy, but I don't know. I worry about spoiling her, so I don't I don't know what I can say.
It's hard because we're like.
I know, I keep wanting to say something, but I don't know if I'm saying too much.
We're containing our excitement for your benefit.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
God, but
yes.
every villain, like in Remake, the villains were, oh, you just love to hate them. I mean, I love to love them. Hojo is just so
Hey, I get it.
disgustingly
gonna say
amazing.
that.
Oh God, he's just so evil. It's depicted so
slimy.
well. Rufus, the same thing, and Sephiroth, and in Remake they did such a good job about just oozing that disgustingness out of them. And in Rebirth, they're just, it's probably going to be even grander. And then we have new villains. We have Elena, who knows what else, we just don't know. I'm personally looking forward to, well, more Rufus, but Hojo. I would like to see Hojo some more.
I love that you want to see Hojo. I want to see Hojo just because of how much you fixated on Hojo.
Yeah.
He's a great villain. If a
He
villain
is.
can bring something good to a story, they're like an S tier character to me, and he brings
Yeah.
everything.
People hate him. They hate
He's
him.
great. He's great. He brings, like, you know, conflict to the story, and it's wonderful. So many characters will have issues with them, and I want to see them interact, and I want to hear what they have to say about them.
Yeah.
Hojo.
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 Good answer.
100%.
Yeah, I'm big on Hojo as well. I really can't wait to see more of him. I think I will say, if I don't say Elena, I will say Scarlet, Palmer,
Forgot.
Rydiger.
yeah.
I think they are just like they're kind of like Tug-ish in the way that they're so comically evil at some
Yes.
points. And it's
Yeah.
just like it's
So much
such a joy
theatrical.
to watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
Yeah.
watching Scarlet freaking kick over a cameraman and be like, yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, you
And
should
step on him?
Maybe I do
Yeah.
like Shinra. Yeah,
I do like
Shinra. It's just incredible. And then Palmer just scuttling around doing his little
Yeah.
Palmer stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, guy, go. And I really can't wait. Like they're so fun. They're such personalities.
I
and-
know they're all unique
yeah.
personalities of evil. There's
Mm.
an evil
Okay.
for everyone. I'm excited.
There is. There's so many.
There
good
really
ones.
is, though.
Yeah. I love how
My
they also
vote-
Oh, sorry.
go ahead. No,
I was just
you
gonna
go
say
ahead.
like how each of the villains that we're mentioning play into like really key parts of the themes and the narrative of the game. Like they carry that the negative part of it, like the environmental focus of the game is like a lot to do with Shinra and their what they are doing to the world and destroying it, and that kind of like that tying in with like Avalanche and that they're good contrasts. And then with the Turks versus like your team, your party, like they're out to obviously I can't go into story things, but that their conflict with your party and the theme of friendship and the bonds that you have made makes that conflict even stronger with why you should be so against them, you know.
Yeah.
I just feel that like is a testament to how well these characters fit into the story, even if you love to hate them or
Yeah.
love to love them, because
Yes.
they're there you go, Finny. I was trying to word it.
Love to love them.
We love to love, hate to love to hate,
to
hate to
love.
hate.
Exactly.
All of it.
Yeah,
All of it
yeah,
and more.
yeah. Apologies, I didn't want to like
No,
interrupt
you're
you.
okay. It's
Yeah.
fine. No, I was gonna say it's tough because I don't know how much I can say, but
Mm.
the two villains that we got, the two last villains in Intergrade, were
Yeah.
so cool.
Oh,
Oh, they were
yeah.
so cool. I
Yeah.
want to see
Yes.
more.
You'll
I
have
also
to
love
be-
their
I don't
voice
know if-
actors.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the
yes.
voice acting, the music, just the aura, especially the last one in the main story.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Ooh, that was one of my favorite battles in the whole remake franchise yet. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. That's a bit of a wild card. I would love to see him pop back up. And also that goes hand in hand with my whole I'm so excited for Yuffie and her performance, and
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any conflict there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I loved
Mhm.
that battle. Oh, it just like got under my skin. It was so sinister, and I love villains that can do that. It's almost scary.
Oh, I don't want to say too much, but I can't wait to see what they borrow from the rest of the compilation, like what they did with Remake. Like in Remake, they took some characters from the Turk Side Story, The Kid's All Right, that book, They touched on Dirge a little bit. I can't wait to see what they bring into Rebirth going forward with compilation.
Yeah,
That's gonna be really exciting.
I think I've mentioned it, maybe not during our discussion, but like I know like we've talked a lot about 7 anyway. How the remake and then going into Rebirth is truly like a love letter to like each of these games that make up this 7 universe. It's bringing out the best in everything that we have experienced, regardless of if you've played like which games you have played. It's yeah, struggling for words, but like the idea that they can take such beloved moments and characters and themes from all over the series and bring them together for something like Rebirth is something that, like, I don't know, I could never imagine if I played the OG as a kid,
I
or
know. It's gotta be so
having
special.
having played Remake when it came out and then waiting with everyone else with bated
Yeah.
breath for when Rebirth was going to be announced, and now it's only in 2 weeks.
It's like,
It's
happening.
I will have my answers, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's coming up quick, and it's still so relevant. It's so relevant, and that's just so beautiful. I love storytelling, and I love stories that can pervade the test of time, and they still hit home, and that's exactly what's going on here. Remake is so cool, and
Absolutely.
it's such a, even the fact that we're getting a remake of an old story and telling it in a new way and experiencing both stories is a new way of looking at storytelling of itself, if I'm making any sense. Because that can only be done really through, well, I mean, I guess any remake, but yeah, remake culture, or this era of remakes in general, is very unique because of that. It's just it's a new way to look at storytelling. I think that's really beautiful. Well, we're over time now, so I don't know if we wanted to take questions from chat about anything anyone's looking forward to, or maybe they're curious about our opinions on something.
Dad,
Now would
you
be
got
the time,
questions?
probably.
So I'm saying golden saucer, golden saucer, golden saucer.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't mention
Yeah,
Golden Saucer.
We didn't even mention
that
the
ties
Golden
in with
Saucer.
like mini games and stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I love mini games. I will go down a whole rabbit hole.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
For what they already
Yonk's just
teased,
killing me right now with
that's
that.
10 hours of mini games right there.
Yeah,
there's
mini games are so fun.
There's a certain thing I don't even know if it's possible to mention. It was in the trailers about the mini games, but I don't want to say too much. But like they have, there's one in particular I'm looking forward to. I can't mention it here,
I haven't seen
but
anything.
because I don't know if because I know other people have been like waiting until the game comes out. But the amount of focus that they have done on the mini games is insane. Like there is
I'm so excited. It's gonna be so
so
bad for
much. And as someone that like when I play Final Fantasy 14 and I'm supposed to be doing the main story quest, and I see someone that has a card above their head, I'm immediately playing Triple Triad for like
so true.
half an hour and then going back to what I was supposed to be doing. I can only imagine that Rebirth is going to be exactly like that, where I should be doing something, but no, this guy wants me to ride a chocobo somewhere. I'm gonna do that instead.
Squatting minigame in Remake is one of my favorite minigames of all time.
Yeah.
Because it's just so fun. You get into the rhythm, and I just think that Final Fantasy is great with minigames in general.
We're gonna need it. Like, we're
going
gonna need those pauses in between all these moments that make us cry.
I was gonna say, I'm very grateful, actually.
Like I think they did it for us because they know we're gonna destroy the fandom. So put a mini game here in between all of this like heartache and excitement. Yeah, put that there and put. I think they did it for a reason. It's for our hearts. I know it.
And if I could actually add on to that, I remember not doing too many of the mini games in OG because the most I did was like the Golden Saucer stuff. But and then the ones where you had to do it in the narrative. I love how Remake took those mini games, well, one in particular in Yuffie's DLC, and actually made me enjoy it.
Oh, I loved that one.
Yeah, for Condor.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They actually took that and made me enjoy it. And
I have a whole compilation of my video about how obsessed I was with that.
Yeah,
It's bad. It's bad.
I was like, oh, how can this get any better? And you can go around and challenge people
I
to
know!
it.
I
challenge
challenged
everyone.
everyone. I wouldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I didn't think I
Yeah.
was gonna like care about it that much. I'm like, man, they did it so well. I'm just addicted.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
scared for
currently-
Rebirth. I'm gonna
currently
get addicted to every mini
I'm
game.
doing it. I'm doing it.
And
all
with the
over
gold
currently.
saucer being in Rebirth, the amount of mini games in there alone.
Yep.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's gonna be bad. I'm gonna put in so many hours into this game.
Like
Oh
it's been
my.
3 months, and like, Finny, have you beat the game?
3
I'm
months!
still in the gold saucer. What do you want me to do?
No, it's gonna be me. I get it.
Yeah, when I played Remake, like I was saying earlier, like I was such a main story person. Like I could not do side quests in any game ever. Like I just wasn't built for that. But now years later, I am very built for that, and it takes
a
over
different gamer.
games, and
Yeah.
I've grown. And
You played
yeah,
Yakuza.
I'm gonna spend way too many hours, and then also just like I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen. I think the different modes of transportation
Mm-hmm.
around the
Oh,
world.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have a blast. Just moving from A to B.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, from mini game to mini game.
I mean, photo
To
mode
another
alone
minigame.
is a mini game. So tack
Yeah.
on another 10 hours with that too. 10 hours of mini games, 10 hours of photo mode.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about photo mode.
I know. It's just so
Yeah.
packed with
Mm. It's
everything. And
addictive.
it's like my heart can only take so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I don't like, obviously I can't talk about the demo, but I just know from playing it the amount of times my jaw dropped and I was left speechless. The amount of detail that's and Remake is already really good in, detail and storytelling, but just seeing what the little bit they've done in that demo with Rebirth, I don't think we're
Mhm.
ready. I don't think we're ready. It's like it's a remake but better
Mm.
in Rebirth. That's
Yeah,
what we're
even
in
more.
for. And
Because it's technically the next Final Fantasy game, even though it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next main line.
Or
mhm.
not a sequel, but the next part. It's
Yeah.
so unique in how it's being done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, were there any other questions or anything else that we wanted to touch
Someone
upon
in my
before-
chat, I don't know if do y'all have any fond memories from the extended compilation of Final Fantasy VII?
Mm.
The extended compilation?
Like
Did they
Dirge
As in, like,
Cerberus, Advent Children.
side-
Oh, just all
Yeah,
of it.
Crisis Core,
all of
yeah.
it.
Mm.
There's one
Hmm.
specific scene in Advent Children, but I'm not gonna say it. But like, it's just the scene to me, and yeah, I just cry. I love it.
We're on straight no spoilers for your
Yeah,
embedded.
that's a
Yeah,
hard
sorry, I
question.
can't like say what
Yeah.
scene it is, but
But-
Yeah.
I can
Oh.
say
Go ahead. I have a great
was
new
gonna-
question for everyone.
okay, I can say like one thing that does stick with me, and I don't know if it's stuck with all of you. But we won't elaborate on it. It's the ending of Crisis Core.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
We're the same person.
I think that's what like after I finished Crisis Core, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm all in. That's it. All right.
Yeah.
yeah,
like,
I'm
it's
all in for this
over.
7 ride. Like, get me in there.
I think that was the first time I like cried heavily on
Mm.
stream, which okay, I get it. I'm known for that now. But it was bad. The Crisis Core was
Same.
the first time. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
Hopefully that answers your
Zack
question without
Fair.
giving
I
context.
love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
it's something special would be playing Dirge Cerberus for the first time, and that was years ago.
I
Because
love that you have this memory.
because this was my HD Final Fantasy VII.
You're so cool.
She has the match.
Just
Oh my
pulling
gosh.
it out.
You're just
ready to
so
go.
cool.
And
Here's my reference.
I look at just the graphics of that, or I think about it a lot as I'm playing Remake, and it's like I could almost cry by how far technology has come, how video game creations have come, and how
Mm.
lucky and blessed we are to have these developers make these wonderful games for us. I always look at like I remember the Shinra mansion in OG. And I'm like, I thought that looked cool at the time, and then I saw it,
was cool.
in Dirge Cerberus, and I was like, oh my god, it's in HD! Oh my god, this is amazing! Look at all these rooms! Ah! oh, look at that, there's a safe. And then I can't wait to see it again in Rebirth and just
I
come
didn't
full
even think
circle.
about the mansion.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it can
that
be so
feeling-
creepy too.
Yeah, that
Oh,
feeling was
I
how
love
I-
creepy stuff.
with Crisis Core, exactly that feeling.
Yeah,
like because
yeah.
I played Reunion when that came out.
Oh,
'cause
yeah, I
that was
never
that
played
was my
Reunion.
experience. It's almost like people's
Yeah.
experience with like OG7 and then Remake. Like my experience wasn't Crisis Core and the PSP like OG. It was
Yeah, yeah.
Reunion, and that was like me pointing at the screen constantly. I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, oh, that's that, and this is this, and all
Yeah.
these new characters that I had no idea
I did
were
the same
part
with
of the
PSP
narrative
version.
before.
I
Yeah,
can only imagine how good it looks now. 'Cause I didn't play Reunion.
it looks
but-
gorgeous. Yeah, it was like it was almost feeling like a sneak peek into these places, like what they will look like in Rebirth and
Yeah.
beyond. So yeah. I don't know. I always get like so like giggly when I think about that because these games are so special, and this feeling of nostalgia, it's like universal regardless
Yeah.
of what I said before,
Yeah.
when you play it when you're younger or when you're older, if you played it a week ago, it's like this game is timeless, and the
It's just so
replayability
magical.
yeah, the
It's so
replayability
good.
of every single one of these games, and I have no doubt I will be replaying Rebirth like
Yeah.
multiple
Yeah.
times.
And now we can play both back to back too. Remake
Yeah,
and Rebirth.
exactly.
That's gonna be
an
fun.
And I know a lot of people will be
extended
doing
game. It's huge.
it's made me so happy. I've been seeing so many people streaming Remake. People that I wouldn't even
Mhm.
expect to pick up Remake
prepared.
simply because they've seen the Rebirth trailers and they've wanted in on this experience that other people are having. And I love that about games. It's just like
Yeah.
my thing is like I want to play games specifically to understand people better. And I know 7 was a lot of my friends' favorites, and I wanted to have something to talk to about like them.
the
They're like
best
a little bit
feeling.
older than me. Like it was
Yeah.
their first game, and I was like, oh, I want to talk about that too. You know?
Talking about
I'm
games
just- I'm
is
just a little
the
guy,
basis
but,
of
yeah.
all my friendships.
Yes. Yeah.
Every single
Same.
one.
Same.
Yeah,
Doesn't get
I
any better than
didn't,
that.
you know, growing up playing games, it was very uncool. And I didn't have
Yeah,
friends
same.
to talk about. I kept it
Nope.
to myself. I didn't have friends to talk about Final Fantasy
Secret
with.
gamers.
I would turn to
Same.
forums and
Gamers,
stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of eventually that's how I became a streamer.
Yeah. I think we have very similar backstories,
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, because you can't. It was hard to talk about that, and
Mhm.
now we just get to be full-on nerds and meet other people that are also nerds. It's just the best. Oh God, I love games. I love storytelling.
It is the best.
It's a good time to be a nerd right now.
Yeah.
It is.
Especially a
Yeah.
Final Fantasy nerd.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is a
What
good
was
time.
the question from your chat, Finny?
Sure, yeah. I have a question. Someone asked, does everyone love Sid Highwind here?
Yes, I do now.
Yes.
After this
Ask
call.
me
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. Ask me.
I'm
in 2
asking you
weeks.
now, girly.
I was different. At first, I thought he was really hot when I played OG7, and I was like, I mean, if you're into Legos, I guess he's like pretty attractive. And then I got his portrait, and I was like, never mind, he's chewing a cigarette. Like, just kidding. No, and
That's what's so
Yeah, that was
beautiful
pretty
in
legit. I was like, he's
Rebirth.
fine.
Like he looks age appropriate, you know. He looks his age, and he looks very handsome and
I was gonna
intelligent
say-
and wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, I'm very excited to see the dynamic that he brings to the group because
Same.
he is older, and this
Yes.
group is young. Besides Barrett, but like Sid is like older. Well, and then okay, Vincent's kind of a whole thing, but it's fine. I don't know. I do wonder. Again, going back to the team attacks and things, who is Sid gonna have a team attack with? I need to know. Who's he
Only
gonna want?
Vincent.
Only Vincent.
Like Vincent. We'll have to find out in the third
The two
game.
recruited
Yeah,
women.
part 3. It's
Part
Sid and Vincent
3.
game.
Sid and Vincent game. That's what
But
it
for now, I'd
is.
like to,
Steal the
I
show.
be fun to see like their banter. It's gonna be fun to see, you know, the 32-year-old interact with the 16-year-old Yuffie. That
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd
yeah,
be really cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
I want to see their
Yeah.
dynamic. Is he gonna be
Mm,
fatherly? Does he
same.
even know how to be fatherly? I have.
What are you
no
trying to say
idea.
about him?
Yeah.
I don't
What
know.
did you-
He's a very loving man. I don't know what you're getting at here.
He's got some. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll get into it
I'll
another
talk to
day.
you after
Part
stream.
3. Part 3. We'll get into it.
I have a question that maybe well, we might have more questions. I was gonna say this could be a fun like last
Mm,
question, or we can do
Okay.
more.
yeah.
how many hours do you all think it'll take before you'll cry for the first time in Rebirth?
Probably
'Cause for
30
me,
minutes.
I think
This
it's
feels
one
very
second.
marketed. Very
One
Honestly, yeah.
second. I'm booting up that game
The
and I'm
menu,
immediately
the
starting
menu.
the
crying.
menu music will.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The menu.
The menu.
I think
The
menu
demo
got me last time,
already
too.
made me tear up. So
Ugh.
I'm a lost cause.
Yeah.
And I don't
This is
cry
gonna be a rough
easily,
one.
but this is a very nostalgic, very personal, very childlike
Yeah.
Yeah.
moment for
game.
me.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
get that.
Yeah. I think there's
So,
something really,
yeah.
to be said about that. Like the idea that this series can provoke emotions from anywhere, like whether that's based on nostalgia or the fact that you're just so excited to play a game like this that you've been probably imagine waiting for this game since playing the OG and imagining what would they look like in amazing graphics and like not squares,
yeah.
it's
I can almost cry thinking about that. Stop it.
yeah, right, yeah, no,
That's how far
no,
it's
it's
come.
okay. 2 weeks, it's only 2 weeks, it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just it's just it brings together so many different people, and that's something I'll always be really grateful for with games, and especially this series. It's always been like at the heart of a lot of like my community and with my friends and online. It's
Yeah.
just it's gonna be a very, very special game when it comes out
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah.
I would give a question from my chat, but they were all smoking to imitate Sid Highwind. So
Oh, and I just want to say
I'll
you
start
have
the smoking
something
emote.
to look forward to before Rebirth even comes out. There's something amazing to celebrate. 7
Mhm.
related. Sid Highwind's birthday is February 22nd,
Oh.
the week before it comes out. So what a great way to
Are you celebrating?
celebrate.
Wait, and
I
also-
actually will. I am having a special
Yeah.
stream for it. I do it every
You're
year.
gonna
What are
get
you
a
talking about?
cake?
I should. I didn't think about that. We are having a party. You're all invited.
Yeah.
Get hype
also,
about
um,
Rebirth
it's,
together.
on the 22nd is also when they're extending the demo. So if you all want to,
Oh,
yeah,
there's
celebrate.
they did that for his birthday.
They
That
did
is
that
so
for his
kind.
birthday. Happy birthday,
Oh,
Sid
Oh, God,
Highwind.
Square.
Sid
He is
Game of
one.
the Year,
Yeah.
Highwind.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Oh.
So
Woo. Trust me.
All right.
Check out
Well,
that
you know
demo.
what you'll be doing.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
22nd.
oh,
Well, this has been great. Thanks
so much
for-
fun.
Yeah, this
for
was wonderful.
talking and yapping about Final Fantasy VII. That was so much fun.
Yeah,
And
big
you
thank you
again,
to
Square
Square.
Enix for sponsoring.
yeah.
and for
Thank you so much,
having us.
Square Enix. Thank
Um,
you.
You're the best.
This is
Please,
so much fun.
Can't wait for you to
please
hug me.
use
I
exclamation
want you to
point.
hear me.
Oh yeah, we all have.
No exclamation point. No.
Exclamation
Just
point.
exclamation
Exclamation point.
Yeah, we have
Seven
links in our
Rebirth.
chats. You can learn more about the game. Pre-order it today. Check it out, and yeah, get ready for February 29th. I know I will be.
Yeah.
I'll be streaming it. I'll be ready.
I'm
Are y'all
not
gonna be
ready, but
playing
I'm
it?
ready. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not ready,
choice.
but you
Yeah.
have to be. There's no
I
choice.
need to get a PS5.
Yeah,
And then
you
I'll
might
be
want to do
streaming
that.
it.
Okay, you
Oh,
might want to do that.
Judgment. Okay,
See
I'm
the,
going
the,
today.
the
Don't
commitment
worry.
We
to
can all
7. You
collect-
want to get a PS5. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
I gotta get a PS5 right now. I'm gonna do it. I gotta be prepared. All right. Well, I guess
Oh.
on that note, goodbye.
We
Right.
wanna
We're gonna
say it, like do a little sign off from each
yeah.
of
Should
us.
we do
or-
a sign off?
Yeah.
What should we say?
I don't
As
know,
in, just be like, hey.
hey,
Hey,
what?
hey,
What?
how's it
If
going?
you want to watch someone.
You can't
Oh,
be
we can just
awkward at
go,
goodbye.
like,
I'm awkward at goodbye.
everyone.
We can do this.
Thank you so
Hey.
much for being here, everyone. We appreciate it so much, and we hope you're as excited as us for the release of Rebirth on February 29th. It's going to be a very exciting time. Can't wait to share the game with you. I'm sure we all are very excited. And yeah,
That's all.
we shall see you whenever we are next live.
We all have different schedules. Whatever.
Yes,
it
we'll
I'm
is.
going through
Whatever.
a hard mode journey in Remake right now.
Yes, please plug
Ooh.
yourselves. Do it.
We're doing
Okay.
a remake journey before Rebirth, and then we're celebrating Sid Highwind's birthday the week before, and then
Yup.
we're rebirthing for however many months. Every month
Nice.
is Rebirth.
Wow.
Very excited.
And I'll just pop in and say, I'm very tempted to do my hard mode playthrough of the Yuffie DLC now on stream. So maybe the next time you see me go
Ooh.
live will
There we go.
be to do that this weekend. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I know I'm putting games on pause a lot. I know I do this a lot, but it's worth it for Rebirth.
I mean,
Yes,
this
it
year
is.
wild with releases, so
yeah,
understandable.
it's my chat are just like in shambles. Oh, she's doing it again. I'm sorry.
Current games putting on hold again.
The backlog is it's too long. But yes,
Rebirth.
but yes.
Okay.
Hi, shameless plug to my friends' chats if you want to see that. Hi, I'm here.
Please, go follow Frankie. Go follow Frankie.
Go follow Billy.
Hannah.
You guys.
and thank you
Yeah,
again.
I'm Louisiana. Don't follow me, gross. I'm
should.
Louisiana. I'm playing Yakuza 5. I'm deep in the Yakuza source. Yakuza 5 is great. I'm gonna be playing some more tomorrow. I can't wait to play Rebirth later in the year also. And yeah, yeah.
Hannah.
Thanks, Lee.
Oh,
Lee,
I guess I
last
have
but
to
not
do it.
least.
I thought I was gonna get it. I was like, all right, turn it in.
No.
Hi, I'm Lee XP. I
XP.
stream a lot of things, but right now I'm also deep in the Yakuza pitfall, whatever you
Join
want to call
us.
it, the journey,
The soup.
the soup. I'm playing
Mhm.
Yakuza 0 right now, and I will be live again with that on Sunday. So that's what's going on. And then I will eventually be playing Rebirth later this year, probably over the summer.
Yippee.
Yay.
We're all very excited.
We are.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
chat.
Bye, y'all.
Y'all
We
would
shall
Join the
see
Sit
you
Hive fan
soon.
club. Thank you.
See that?
Yes. Got that in.
Bye.
Woo. All right, now we can end.